We want to ask you to continue to bless our ears and our voices and our hands that play the instruments that constitute, that bring together this gift that we call the Cadance-Lypso, which is so symbolic of what you have given to Dominica. It's myriad faces and everything that should lead us not just to here, but to the future. Father, bless us, bless the deliberations this evening, and bless whatever you allow the Cadance-Lypso to do for Dominica and for the rest of the world as of today. We want to make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Merci, Ophelia. I still want you to remain standing. Sorry about that. I want to invite all of us here to observe a minute silence in the memory of Jacob Desvarieux, the guitarist and leader of Kassav, who passed today. And also, the minute of silence, we can also have it in memory of the Cadance-Lypso legends as well, who have passed on. Thank you very much. Zosassize. Merci. Merci en pile. All right. Yes, everybody take their seats. I too can take my seat as well. Once again, welcome to this final edition, this final panel discussion to observe Cadance-Lypso Month. Cadance-Lypso Month has been organized by Creole HeartBeat magazine and a number of other important stakeholders. We have quite an extensive program tonight, so we're going to be a bit brutal about the time. I don't think we'll have anybody moving any nominations for a 5-minute extension. So this is George Washler. George Washler here tonight. Okay, we have a number of presenters. We have Gilles Lyonnais from Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. We have McCarthy Marie from Dominica presenting as well. We have Michael Henderson, also of Dominica. We have from Guadeloupe, Professor Julien Mérillon. And we have also from Dominica, Sobers Esprit. And we also have Cornell Phillip, Carlton Winston, and Derek Peters. So we have quite a feature list of presenters here tonight. So we're going to start, first of all, with the video presenters, the people who are doing video presentations via video. And I think 2 people will be doing that, maybe 3 of them, I think, yes, according to my list here. So we're going to start with Gilles Lyonnais from Seychelles.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Merci pour ces gens-là qui ont organisé ce symposium-là, ça. En particulier les radios, en particulier Open Campus à Youi, aussi Alliance Française Dominique. C'est un plaisir pour moi participer à dans la dernière rencontre que j'ai fait à Cadance-Lypso. Et en tant que aussi un bel merci à Gordon Anderson, qui sont vieux amis, nous connaissons depuis longtemps, et qui sollicitait moi pour ça. Alors, on va parler aujourd'hui de Cadance-Lypso en Guadeloupe, mais pas n'importe qui genre. C'est qui genre Cadance-Lypso en Guadeloupe? C'est en même temps à dans culture créole en nous, mais en même temps aussi t'es capable de permettre de développer ça en créer un sentiment caribéen à mon la Caraïbe. En effet, là, nous regardons alentour nous, ni on l'eau études académiques qui a essayé de comprendre le rôle musique péni dans les sociétés qui avancent, qui ont évolué. Et d'après les recherches, tout ça nous a vrai, il a dit que les styles musicaux, souvent, mais aussi en dehors de style, musical style, en dehors aussi de ces styles-là, certains morceaux de musique des fois, mais c'est des messages qui des fois, ou pas même savent ces messages, mais ils peuvent rentrer dans la société-là. Et les artistes, par conséquent, en moment-là, ça cavine, nous peut dire des porte-voix, des porte-paroles à les sociétés qui ont changé. Là, nous regardons les musiques populaires, qu'on a considéré souvent qu'on des bitins qui permettent de monamiser, dérivatifs, etc. Ça, ces recherches-là qui ont montré, c'est que ces musiques populaires-là, ça, qui permettent de comprendre parfaitement, c'est ça nous a créé en gris qui permet de comprendre qui genre société là à un moment donné qu'à recevoir message là et qui genre musique populaire là il a retransmettre sentiment à peuple là. Alors là nous a posé à dans contexte en nous la Caraïbe ça bien intéressant encore pas d'avoir c'est des sociétés coloniales et post-coloniales, ça veut dire qu'ils ont été colonisés, après ça, ça qui pas colonisé encore, mais qui gardaient toutes en série d'éléments qui a fait que ça nous a créé des expressions de la colonialité et des expressions qui souvent dans les paroles, dans la musique, dans chanter. Là, nous regardons alentour nous, Calypso par exemple, il a considéré à Trinidad, c'est un grand livre à les problèmes sociaux, à ce là à Trinidad. Les coups analysés en Guadeloupe, par exemple, chaque style musical méritait en réflexion. Et pour comprendre Kayokadi, il faut être capable à comprendre dans quelle période il fait. Et des fois, ça a des pistes qui ça ouvrait les analyses sociologiques, historiques apportées. Donc, ça veut dire musique est toujours là, musique est toujours présente dans la société en nous, dans différentes formes. D'abord pour nous regarder les sociétés caribéennes, c'était une manière pour ces gens-là de retrouver, ça nous a créé un côté, on rentrait, les sortis en Afrique, et là, c'est une musique qu'ils étaient capables d'assembler. Là, nous regardons les premiers gens qui écrivent à la Caraïbe. Ni en français, nous avons essayé le breton, ni d'autant qu'on a essayé le père là-bas. Il y a montré qui gens ces esclaves-là, là où ils étaient sortis en Afrique, c'est toujours alentour à la musique qui été assemblée. Musique, c'est ça qui permet que ils kembe du bout parce que conditions de vie étaient des fois très difficiles, très raides. Et c'est processus à créolisation qui fait que des formes musicales nouveaux paraissent puisque là sorti en Afrique ou quoi venir vers charge musicale qu'on a en Afrique, mais là arrivé ici dans ou obligé de prendre en considération réalité à pays là et musique qui est jouée il est marqué par environnement là par tout ça qui est alentour les nouvelles conditions aussi qu'on vivre et c'est pour ça nous avons créé ça créolisation il permet que en Guadeloupe, gros apparaît, qui permettent petit à petit que d'autres formes de musique apparaissent. Nous avons bidjin, nous avons mazouka, nous avons aussi Kadri, eh bien Kadri, on va trouver tout côté français, eh bien tous ces côtés-là, ça, nous avons différentes formes musicales qui apparaissent. Et c'est ainsi que nous avons aujourd'hui en Guadeloupe, eh bien, on a 3 séries de musique. En première série de musique qui était Roka, eh bien c'était musique à esclaves qui était jouée dans certaines circonstances, il y avait 7 rythmes à Roka, comme on dit, et il était comme montré force à résistance à les esclaves. À côté de ça, on a d'autres musiques qui étaient plus douces. Il était comme Bidjin, c'était musique à la ville, musique à moun qui était déjà un peu libéré, qui était déjà petit brin évolué. Eh bien, musique là, ça, ils permettent effectivement de ni en fraction à la population là qui retrouvait en même temps il y avait des éléments à culture africaine, mais aussi il ajoutait des éléments de la culture européenne. Et enfin, on a des cultures blanches, culture européenne, ben, qui étaient valse créole et mazouka, en série de musiques comme ça qui apparaissent. Donc, nous avons ces musiques-là, toutes ont reflété les rapports sociaux, ils ont reflété les différentes catégories monde qui sont dans la société là. Et les musiques caribéennes, dans tout ça nous avons vrai, eh bien, ils ont subi toute même chose là ça, et ils ont des musiques de synthèse, des musiques syncrétiques. Alors en Guadeloupe, les ouvriers ni style musical là ça qui paraît, mais l'ouverture sur le reste de la Caraïbe qui a fait petit à petit, il a fait vers phonographe les apparaître, mais il a fait vers différents voyages aussi. Et surtout, la jeunesse, dans les années 60, Capati avait découvert à d'autres rythmes haïtiens, rythmes qui associés en République dominicaine, merengue, rythmes qui associés Trinidad, Calypso, etc. Mais aussi des rythmes qui associés aux États-Unis, ben, nous avons rock'n'roll, rentré, rhythm and blues, tous ces bidons qui rentré. Alors, qui genre Cadance-Lypso apparaît? Et c'est ça qui est intéressant pour nous garder. D'abord, pour un contexte politique qui est assez particulier en Guadeloupe, là où on voit Cadance-Lypso apparaît, ben, ça ne va créer un sentiment, une identité. Le monde qui a commencé à dire, mais c'est Guadeloupéen, il n'est pas français. Il quand même ni un bitin qui taille. Et ça, on voit ces jeunes qui capotent ça, ces jeunes étudiants, ces jeunes travailleurs. Et petit à petit, ça travaille des petits orchestres, des orchestres à rock'n'roll, qui inspirés les États-Unis, mais on a aussi des orchestres qui cherchent, et ça c'est très important, dans l'Afrique. Et ni un rythme qui vient dans les années 60-70, il a créé Tumbele. Il y avait un orchestre qui sortit en Afrique noire, c'est Rico Jazz, et Rico Jazz qui a porté d'autres styles musicaux que nous ne connaissons pas. Et là, c'est très important parce que nous ont l'idée à qui, genre, petit à petit, les orchestres qui viennent avec Cadance-Lypso, qui est un peu assis même modèle qui Rico Jazz. Et c'est comme ça, nous pouvons dire que, bon, petit à petit, nous avons des catégories orchestres. Grand orchestre à balle, Fernès Junior, Esperanza, etc., Lotus. Et on a des petits orchestres petit à petit qui apparaissent avec Genbourg, les Rapaces, les Vikings, les Maxels. Et à ce moment-là, on a aussi différentes qualités musicales à jouer, boléro, tcha-tcha-tcha, calypso, merengue. Et bien, petit à petit, la Guadeloupe vient en côté là où vrai, ni toute qualité de musique à la Caraïbe à jouer. Et là, nouveau musique Haïti, africain, rhythm blues, eh ben, musique qui a sorti aussi à Trinidad, Henri Belafonte, tous ces mondes-là, ça a fait que ni on, si vous voulez, sembler, on mélange, on mixe à les différentes musiques. Et nous peut dire, ça qui est important, c'est là où vrai, dans fin des années 60, des musiciens haïtiens qui sont rentrés en Guadeloupe. Alors, quelques noms qui reviennent moins comme ça. On y Pierre Blin, on y Émile Volel, mais on y surtout, et talenté connaître personnellement, Pierre Desgroupes, qui sont un guitariste extraordinaire. Monsieur disparaît en passant, vous y aller, mais en cas songer, en étudiant, et Kazaï pas loin, et nous avons 6 ans à Pierre Desgroupes pour écouter musique. Et donc, c'est là, ça porté en d'autres façons d'appréhender la musique. Et pénétration là qui font en société à la Guadeloupe. Rôle que Pierre Blin, Émile Volel ont joué, qui a un rôle important. Alors pour qui ça? D'après moi, ni en première raison, c'est le créole là. Nous créoles et nous parlons créole et là où vous voyez Pierre Blanc a chanté, là où vous voyez Mivol a chanté, tout le monde va comprendre ce qu'il a dit. Et ça c'est un élément qui est très important. Deuxième élément qui est important, musique là il a joué là, il pas loin nous et nous ça danser si même gens nous a dansé si biguine mazouka etc. nous a dansé si compas et ça a fait que bon petit à petit une fusion qui a fait à l'entour ces musiques là ça. Et ça qui est très fort dans la société en nous. Et c'est un moment là ça. Peut-être que nous arrivons au stade peut-être bidaté en gens saturé, t'es trop. Mais Cadance-Lypso est arrivé. Cadance-Lypso est rentré en Guadeloupe. Il y avait évidemment des gens qui sortent de Dominique, des gens qui en même temps une culture à Calypso, qui connaissent les rythmes et qui ont fréquenté aussi Tibrin, la Guadeloupe, qui ont vrai les gens musicaux qui n'y. Et en quoi grand génie là, c'était d'être fait tout ça fait en sel, en mélange. D'ailleurs, non là lui-même Cadance-Lypso, c'est un sens. Cadence, c'est la cadence Ramba et Calypso, Lypso c'est aussi Calypso. Donc on lit en âge qu'on a dit entre cadence Ramba et Calypso qui cabaye effectivement Cadance-Lypso. Et là encore, bitaka parti qu'on dit sont différents prix. Sont différents prix en Guadeloupe. Les premiers jeunes qui ont écouté ça, ont dit mais c'est bitan, nous rentrons dans d'autres musiques là. Et ça cabaye en série d'activités. D'abord pour yon, les boîtes de nuit en moment là ça, t'es qu'à faire live et CBC a dans ce petit orchestre qui vient jouer. Qui c'est au club 97 que Debsteni, qui c'est en d'autres la Châtaignier que Arjol Teni. Eh bien tout ça travaille en belle ambiance musicale pratiquement tous les soirs. C'est mon là qui danser en Cadance-Lypso et là les différents orchestres associés Dominique qui porté son là ça, mais il y a travail aussi nous prévenons si ça t'allait avec des musiciens Guadeloupe. Ça c'est un élément qui est très important pour bien comprendre la Cadance-Lypso, bien comprendre aussi sans crier petit à petit qui gens si vous voulez sentiments caribéens là qui rentrent en Guadeloupe et qui rentrent avec des activités à musique. Et deuxième bitin qui est important, c'est qu'il aura commencé à sortir des 10. Et là, nous avons beaucoup Henri Debs qui joue un rôle important et qui permettent. Alors, Gordon Anderson a dans différents livres qu'il écrit, qui a montré les difficultés au départ pour que ça fait accepter système là, etc. Mais petit à petit, les Debs, ça c'est une commerce. Hein. Il faut connaître très rapidement l'homme qui a marché, là il va marcher. Là, il a senti que ça a marché dans la jeunesse là, eh bien, il mettait à fond et il mettait à distribuer, à faire sortir disques à les différents orchestres qui paraissent. Et là, nous peut dire, et c'est important, sans crier, le règne de la Cadance-Lypso. Cadance-Lypso, véritable kingdom à Cadance-Lypso fait en Guadeloupe. En Guadeloupe, en moment là, ça, tout le monde est capable de yanky de Cadance-Lypso. Tout partout passé, c'est Cadance-Lypso. En radio, c'est Cadance-Lypso. Dans fête que les gens ont organisé, c'est Cadance-Lypso. Le vrai monde qui a chanté spontanément la rue, c'est Cadance-Lypso. Tout partout, c'est Cadance-Lypso. Et il y a un nom, c'est Exaiwan. Et en visage, c'est Gordon Anderson. Et moi, il faut bien comprendre ça. Ça ne veut pas dire que les autres pagnons c'est une importance. Mais en zier à moun en Guadeloupe, en moment là, ça, moi, on peut parler de ça, puisqu'en étudiant en France et en cas rentré en Guadeloupe, en 1972, en venant en vacances 72-73, et au départ, on ne pas tellement connaître Cadance-Lypso, et là, on a rencontré deux ou trois minutes, on a dit, mais en noyau Châtaignier, en noyau 97, et c'est là, on jouait avec Gordon Anderson, c'est là, on jouait avec Exaiwan, et c'est là qu'on a découvert la musique là, et quand j'ai moun là qui a dansé, ça a été extrêmement important. Donc, pour moi, c'est important, et au cas à un moment là, ça des tubes qui ont enchaîné, il y en a pris l'autre. Ben, c'est là où on a différents orchestres qui apparaissent aussi, où on a Joseph avec le grand Max qui a venu, qui a rentré, et avait un style un peu plus fort qui t'a Exaiwan, qui est peut-être plus rythmé, mais qui appelait Moon, ou ni des bouts comme Liquid Ice qui a rentré aussi, ou ni Magnet Grover, toutes ces mouns-là, ça a venu, si vous voulez, renforcer, bailler un bel ballon. Alors pour qui ça? Et nous essayons de comprendre pour qui ça n'y a un tel succès. Pour qui ça, Cadance-Lypso, en moment là, ça, eh bien, il a fait qu'il y a un monde content, il a permettre la jeunesse sauter, mater, danser. tout le monde qui jeune, qui vieux, yo tout ka trouvé yo dans Cadance-Lypso. Pour qui ça? D'abord pour yon, d'après moi, sans crier la culture créole. Ni Adam, Cadance-Lypso, on fort marquage à la culture créole. L'angla, yo ka parler créole. Là, écoutez, qui morceau à Max, qui goto à Liquidas, qui goto à Midnight Rovers, qui morceau à Xaiwan, yo en créole. Et là aussi, nous la accompagnons, même si quelquefois, bon, nous avons un petit accent anglais, au contraire, ça te travaille un petit charme, ça te belle d'écouter, bon, en créole qui est un peu différent. Deuxième bitin qui est important, et qui fait succès, d'après moi, à Cadance-Lypso, c'est les thèmes qui étaient choisis. Là, on apprend par exemple bon, des thèmes qui concernaient la vie à la Caraïbe, vie en nous à tous les jours. On a songé au talon, un morceau qui était joué. On a songé des morceaux, bon, là on parlait des soukounia. Moi, si je suis sorti fait, enfin, il était 3 ans, 4 ans, tonton Ayofei, soukounia à Jeff Joseph et le Glamax. Mais si je l'ai aimé ça tellement, et ça te ramener nous à dans l'imaginaire créole en nous, à dans l'imaginaire caribéen en nous. Et d'après moi, ça joué en lot, puisque là où vous voyez Glamax chanter, c'est comme si c'était une municipalité qui a chanté, mais qui a chanté avec un accent peut-être, avec un style différent, mais c'était nous-mêmes qui étaient capables. D'autres thèmes importants aussi qui étaient capables. Par exemple, des thèmes qui sont plus sociaux. Là où vous voyez Axaiwan sorti, qui travaille pour rien. Et c'est en référence à l'esclavage. Nous travaillons pour rien, ou chahier, sortir en Afrique, etc. Ça aussi, ça portait un important accueil. Et nous, jeunes étudiants qui étaient sortis, nous avons dit, ah, mais ça fait nous songer un morceau à Daniel Forestal, la prière de l'esclave, qui était sorti dans les années 50. Et après la prière de l'esclave, porté qu'on y pon chanson à l'esclavage. Eh bien, c'est Gordon Anderson qui a porté un élément nouveau avec un travail pour rien et un rythme. Alors, la prière de l'esclave, c'est une espèce de valse, mais là, il y a dans Cadance-Lypso, il y a dans rythme nous. C'est-à-dire, tout pendant qu'on a chômé, on a dansé, mais on a venir si des problèmes contre nous. Même genre, là, où vrai, à Exaiwan, eh bien, qu'a sorti, jamais voir ça. Qui c'est un attachement, là, où dit, jamais voir ça. Eh bien, ça veut dire que vous pouvez quitter le soleil là pour aller dans la neige. Ça veut dire, bon, nous aimer pays, nous aimer la Caraïbe, nous arrêter là-dedans, nous péquer la guerre pour aller en Europe. Et avant, moi, ça était des éléments qui étaient extrêmement importants. D'autres thèmes, c'était plus, ça nous a crié l'humour qui était plus important. Là, ouais, par exemple, bon, Akiaka, l'année de la femme, bon. Alors, ça a représenté dans l'année de la femme, mais ça dans un style cafégé, humoristique. Et ça a été aussi très intéressant et bien perçu par le monde. Ou bien Rosita. Alors, moi, en aimé Rosita pour qui ça? Maman, moi, non, c'était Rosita. Et en cas songer, un jour pour fête, nous venons nous porter de ça, nous mettons à une belle vache, et nous porter à fête, c'était quand il était à moule, à grand fond, et en porter de cela Rosita. Et il dit, mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ça y est, ça? Et là, pendant notre table, nous mettons la musique là à fond. Et pour y nous Rosita, eh bien, tout le monde est content d'écouter ça. Donc, tout ça a montré nous que nous pouvons dire que Cadance-Lypso là, il a mis en valeur culture en nous, culture créole en nous. Il a valorisé langue en nous. Et même s'il y a des différences entre créole, guadeloupéen, martiniquais, haïtien, etc., nous comprenons nous. Et par conséquent, ça va permettre nous de nier en double influence à les différents créoles. Donc, deuxième élément important à Cadance-Lypso là, on a dit, c'est la question de l'appropriation caribéenne. Nous avons dans une période où petit à petit, les gens ont commencé à interroger. La Guadeloupe a vu un département en 1946 et tout partout, ils ont dit nous, bon, mais vous êtes des Français. Mais en même temps, les rois en France, ou pas si français, qui ça? En même temps, les ouvriers ou Adam, si vous voulez, ou quoi garder alentour à vous, j'ai un cas manger, j'ai un cas parler, même j'ai un cas tout ça on a fait, il y a un fort map à identité en nous qui pas français. Et ça, petit à petit, ça a pété en tête à moun. Et c'est comme ça, eh bien, en série de beaucoup, Rémine Soutal, Béobéville, qui a commencé à dire que la Guadeloupe a dans région Caraïbe là, il faut y rester planté dans la Caraïbe. Il faut y aller dans l'environnement Caraïbe. Et c'est pour ça, donc, nous avons dit, cette période-là, ça, Cadance-Lypso fait un pas à ce problème, à la question de l'appartenance caribéenne. Et donc, Cadance-Lypso permet les Guadeloupéens d'avoir une ouverture plus large. Ça a déjà commencé avec Cadence Rampa, ça a déjà commencé plus ou moins avec Merengue, mais là, il plus fort pas d'avoir, premièrement, il plus près. C'est des gens que nous rencontrons, toujours des relations entre Guadeloupe et la Dominique. D'autre part, en plus qu'il était plus près, nous travaillons tout le temps. En plus de ça à présent, nous peut dire que les musiciens étaient ici. Et là, on regarde bien, Cadance-Lypso, c'est en Guadeloupe créé. C'est en Guadeloupe créé avec des Dominicains, avec des Guadeloupéens, etc. Donc, au départ, son synthèse qui vient en Guadeloupe même. Donc, tout ça qui a fait que nous avons une dimension caribéenne, petit à petit, qui fait chimère après, hein, puisque nous c'est vrai que la Caraïbe qui vient ont véritable enjeu politique après. Donc, ni voilà qui j'ai tendance caribéenne là, ça important à mettre à Cadance-Lypso. Alors, et ces derniers points qui bodé, faut nous savoir, est-ce que Cadance-Lypso a pas, ça nous criait avant-garde, est-ce que a pas, si vous voulez, on butin qui vient avant tout le monde, et il était qu'à annoncer son espèce de prophète, il était qu'à annoncer ça qui vient après. En effet, ça nous a regardé. Premier butin nous avait dit que bon, il ne faut pas nous oublier que Pierre-Édouard Décimus, qui c'est là qui crée ça, eh bien, il fréquentait Gordon Anderson. Ils jouaient ensemble, ils travaillaient ensemble. Donc, tout ça maillé, nous peut dire une influence qui est incontestable. Et il faut nous bien comprendre. Ça est passé dans les années 80-90. La Dominique a attrapé indépendance, il a devenu indépendant le 3 décembre 1978. À un moment là, ça aussi, la Dominique a connu un gros couillon, avec Cyclone David en août 1979. Et ça a un peu baissé influence à Cadance-Lypso, ça incontestable. Mais, qui ouvre pas, nous peut dire que Cadance-Lypso était dans l'esprit à monde comme un élément qui participait à un moment donné. Et nous peut dire que, je dis là, nous regardons la Guadeloupe. Gros cas qui était en décati, qui était oublié, eh bien, il reprend petit à petit force, et tout partout. Mais on a des jeunes musiciens gros cas qui ont introduit des éléments rythmiques à la Caraïbe. Nous avons aujourd'hui, je dis là aussi que bon, il y a mettre dans tout ça, qui c'est R&B, qui c'est reggae, qui c'est dancehall, tout ça installé dans la jeunesse. Pour moi, l'esprit là toujours. Deuxième question, c'est qui influence les musiques et cultures à l'Amérique, eh bien, ni assez l'identité caribéenne. Et ça, c'est une question qu'il faut nous poser, nous. Cadance-Lypso, t'es qu'à passer au-delà, t'es qu'à permettre nous passer tout ça. Jeudi, ben, il faut bien nous constater que l'importance à la culture américaine, les musiques américaines, peut-être qu'à, en tous les cas, fait nous mal pour ça conserver toute originalité et toute identité en nous. Mais, in fine, et en finale, Cadance-Lypso, c'est nous, c'est en nous, et en cas quoi, modernité là, hypothèse là, eh bien, il faut nous que savent comprendre qu'il peut permettre que nous n'y un style qui particulier qui est en nous, et pour ça, eh bien, en que dit merci, bah, tout le monde qui contribuait à modernité là, ça, mais surtout, en que dit merci à Gordon Anderson et à Zion. Merci en pile.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir tout le monde. Good night everybody and lots of love from the people of Seychelles. First of all, I would like to thank Gordon Anderson and the DBS for inviting me to talk a little about the influence of Cadance-Lypso on Seychelles music on the occasion of Cadance-Lypso month. So I would like to introduce myself. I am Gilles Lyonnais, born and bred in the Seychelles. As you know, Seychelles lies in the Indian Ocean, It's a Creole-speaking country, and Creole is the official language. And the main economic activity is tourism, probably just like the main countries in the Caribbean. And even if we are so far apart, as we say in Creole, nous près, nous loin, the music from the Western Caribbean, especially from Dominica, and later Zouk, has penetrated Seychelles and taken over the country by storm at a certain period of our history. Well, at first, when the music hit our shores, Cadance-Lypso I'm referring to, I was still a young person, still at school, and I started hearing the songs from Seychellois groups who were playing either in the districts or in the hotels, and then later radio took it up. And the person, actually, I will take you to Perseverance to meet a Seychellois musicologist and Seychellois Creole musicologist, and his name is Mr. No.4 Salomon. He's been in several Creole-speaking countries, made research on Creole music, proverbs, and so on.
Jamaica, Martinique, Guadada, Guyana, Saint Lucia, Antigua, Haïti, Maurice.
Oui, aujourd'hui, nous ici, côté un grand musicologue, bien sûr, un vrai chercheur, bonne tradition, la langue créole et la musique seychelloise.
No.4 Solomon. I'm a Creole music researcher.
Okay, Mr. Salomon, tell us your connection with Cadance-Lypso and how you got to, how it has influenced the Seychellois music.
Well, it all started when I was in England in 1977. I met a guy from Guadeloupe, and he's the one who introduced them. One music to me. My first record was L'Année de la Femme. The guy was living in France. Each time he came to London, he brought some new people. The second one, I think, was Pompidili, Atata, something like that.
So what happened? You had the album?
Yeah, when I've got that music, before I knew that music, I would listen to reggae music, you know, from the island. When you are in England, you stick to reggae music. But as soon as when I've got that music from my friend from La Guadeloupe, I fell in love with Creole music, kind of music. And I passed it to some of my friends who were living in London. And I sent an album to my brother here in Seychelles. I think he's the one who spread it to the musician here on the island.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's because of the language as well, you know.
Yeah.
It's not very easy for the people to understand the Creole language.
Yeah.
And the beat of the music was very fast. They like that, the cowbell, the drumming, it's really good.
And you can see the influence of the cowbell in the cigars that we have been producing here.
They introduced in our local music, the cigar music. Until now, they've got that stand in our cigar music.
Okay. I hope Mr. Salomon has given you an insight of how Cadance-Lypso influenced Seychelles music, especially with the cowbell. Yes, I think there were several factors that influenced this music. One of them being Seychelles joie de vivre culture, have a joie de vivre culture. They like music, and this music was new in the sense it was very rhythmic. And the second factor would be the language. It was very understandable to sing in Creole, and they were listening and they could accompany like "Tout femme derrière on la vérité, tout femme," whatever. And yes, and you can see now in the Sega, it's still being done. Now you have the cowbell, which is being played, you know, ka, 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 ka. So this is principally what I would call the influence on Seychelles music. Yes. Well, I'm left to thank everyone, and I hope you have a good presentation and debate on this subject, and wish you all the very best. Once again, lots of love from the Seychelles.
Yeah. Okay, that was our friend Gilles Lyonnais from Seychelles, and before that we had Julien Mérion. I did it in the wrong order apparently. But just quickly for your information, Seychelles is an island archipelago in the Indian Ocean, north of Madagascar. And they have the same colonial history like us. They were colonized by the French and later by the English. So you find that in Seychelles, you have actually 3 languages that are actually official languages: Creole, or French Creole, the English, and the French. So basically, he was pinpointing some of the influences of Cadance-Lypso on the popular dance music of Seychelles, which is called Sega. Of course, you can go on YouTube and discover a bit of Sega. And Julien Mérion, who is the head of Coreca in Guadeloupe, Coreca does quite a bit of cooperation work in Dominica. And he was making a very important point about the impact of Cadance-Lypso in Guadeloupe, that when it exploded on the scene in Guadeloupe, it was really phenomenal. It brought the young and the old together. And another important point, that the Cadance-Lypso, especially the lyrics, the themes that Cadance-Lypso broached, were really a valorization, represented a valorization of the Creole culture and the Creole language. Okay, so I think this was a very critical point in Julien Mérion's presentation. Moving speedy along, we're going to invite McCarthy Marie, better known as Mark Marie, and he's going to focus on the impact of the recording by Exile One on a major international label and the impact of that. Yes, Mark, of course, I would really welcome that you be very economical with the length and duration. Right, so you have no more than 20 minutes.
Okay.
But 10 is okay.
Good evening, everyone. Australian I parle anglais. First thing to say is that in the music business and the recording business, artists are not supposed to make money from selling records. That's how the business is designed. Therefore, when you sign with a major record label, which at the time Exile One was doing that, would have been somewhere about 6 or 7 companies. Right now, there are only 3 major record companies, and they make like more than 90% of the record in the world. They are multinational companies. So there's a Sony in South Africa, Sony in Nigeria, Sony in the United States, Sony in the United Kingdom. And there are only 3 of them. But at the time when Exile One signed the contract with Barclay Records, which is now part of the Universal Music Group, which is owned by a company that was involved in water business called Vivendi. So Barclay Records is part of that multinational record company, which is the largest one in the world, by the way. What it meant was that the record company sold your records as far as they could. So you got a lot of publicity from signing up with a major record label. They would provide a serious marketing campaigns for you. They would organize radio interviews with important radio stations, appearances in music magazines, get you on the cover, and that sort of thing. So they were able to put you on the largest platforms so that you personally, as an artist, could now be known by millions of people, which would then follow on with concerts in different places. So like Exile One's records, for example, were distributed in Colombia. They wouldn't manufacture the record in France and send it to Colombia. The thing that happened was there's a factory or distributor in Colombia, you send the master tape to them, they manufactured in Colombia and sold in Colombia. Like Exile One, for example, his company had a deal with Byron Lee's company in Jamaica, who was selling Exile One records there. The West Indies Records Company, World rather, in Barbados made most of their money by manufacturing foreign records for sale in the Caribbean. That's how the business is organized. So Exile One was the first to do it. WCK was about to be the second to do it, but it didn't happen because I made the first record and I was in the middle of all of that, getting that done. They would have had a deal eventually with Virgin Records, which is part of UMG as well. It didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is exemplified by a phrase that I read in a report which a Trinidadian consultant did for a company here in Dominica. Dominica is a society of low trust. Nobody trusting anybody about anything. And in point of fact, more they don't know how you're going to thief them, more certain they are that you are doing it. And importantly, at the time when I was doing that, there was another person doing recordings up at Center Roma, Mr. Ken Robinson. He, in point of fact, was the first person who had a studio in a building set up like a studio. When I started doing recordings, I did them live, and I did like the first Calypso thing that was put on sale, myself and a guy called Radigan. Then we did the Girodel Jingping Band, which made Girodel Jingping Band for 2 years the most popular band in Dominica. And they tripled their price during the time, by the way. But with WCK, we didn't go further because of this question of low trust and, how shall we say, lack of understanding of how business in the music works. So that's what I would have to say. I don't want to go past my 10 minutes, but if you have further questions, I will be happy to answer them. Yeah? 20, oh, up to 20. Okay, well, I will just give an example of how, well, to use some technical term. The record business is a low margin business. In other words, you make a small amount of profit on each record. So the margin is small. So therefore, to make a lot of money, you need to sell a lot of records. And the way a standard record contract with a major record company is organized, essentially the record company lends you money to make the recordings. And if you want to put it like in banking terms, essentially they take the master recording as collateral against the loan. So when you sell records, you will have had an advance. That's one of the things the record company will give you. And against that advance, all your royalties would first be applied. And you would have said to recoup your record recouped. It recouped the advance that was made. If the record didn't recoup the advance, the standard practice was the record company wouldn't ask you to sell your car or your house to pay them back. That was the end of it. The only source of revenue they would get from you would be from the sale of your records and the royalties which would accrue to you. So very few people make a fairly large amounts of money which supports the entire rest of the structure of the people who are signed to the record label. And EMI is a company that's been there a very long time. It used to be called Decca when it started off. They made recording equipment, etc., that they got into records. And if you would remember, I'm sure Patrick will remember, we used to have light bulbs from, I'm trying to remember, they came from England, Thorn EMI light bulbs, if you remember that. Well, that was the record company that was part of Thorn EMI. And at one time, Thorn continued making these electrical stuff, and EMI became a record company by itself. And EMI eventually had to be sold. The publishing business was taken by Sony, and the recording business was taken by UMG. And they ended up in that situation basically by making a bad deal with one artist, Mariah Carey. They made a deal with her to pay her over a period of time, $80 million, yes? And the record, she was used to be with Columbia. Matter of fact, she had even married Tom Mottola, who was at the time the president of Columbia Records and so on, which is now part of Sony Entertainment. But the deal was based on the idea, the first record, that song was going to be in a movie. The movie was expected to be a big success. Therefore, if it's a big success as a movie, the music in it is also a big success. So a lot of the marketing and effort and expectation of revenue depended on how well the movie did. Unfortunately, the movie didn't do very well at all, which meant records did not sell. And eventually, they had to call her and say, okay, let's kind of finish with this contract here. We'll just pay you a sum of money and we'll be good friends, but we'll finish with that. And then a couple of years later, they couldn't keep up the business because the business keeps changing. And as I said, because it's a low margin business, you find there are few companies who dominate the recorded music business. And as I've said, they are now come down to only 3 major record companies. Sony Entertainment, or Sony Records as it's sometimes called, UMG, Universal Music Group, which is where Barclays, which is the company that Gordon had signed with, is now located, and WEA, otherwise known as Warner Brothers. Yeah, so they are the 3 major record companies that exist in the world. At a lower level, you have what you might call independents, that they're not part of that multinational structure. And the multinational structure actually has their own like trade association called the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, which you can find on the internet, and you'll find lots of information about sales of records, how business has changed, etc., the number of money you make from streaming. And because streaming is now the way that the public consumes music. Yes, and I just read it tonight there, because I get a weekly update on what's happening in the music thing. UMG is expected to make about more than 10 billion US dollars this year, because their second quarter returns were over 3 billion. So the expectation is that over the next 2 quarters, the total should be in the region of $10 billion. YouTube is a bit of a new creature on the block in terms of the whole music thing. And they make about $3 million per hour in advertising. Lots of money. Yes, so in the music business, you are either very small, in which you operate in a small market and you try to sell within your market, or you become part of this huge machine that puts out these records, and now it's just recordings that are streamed over the internet, and you get payments according to the amount of streaming that's done. And by the fact, the most profitable part of the music business is music publishing, which we don't have time to discuss tonight, but that's the most profitable part of the business. The sums of money involved in music publishing are actually smaller, but the expenses are also much smaller. Therefore, the profits tend to be larger than in the recorded music business. Okay, I think I'll stop here for now.
Yes, thank you, Mark Murray. Sticking to the time well tonight. Of course, the dynamics of the music industry has changed a lot, as Mark indicated, from the so-called Barclay days. And that is going to lead us straight into the topic of the next presenter, none other than Michael Henderson herself, who is well known and needs no really special introduction. Of course, she's a special person. We have Michael Footibel and all the things that go with Michael. So she's going to talk about the introduction of copyright and music publishing in the Dominican music space. So neatly, really flowing from Mark's concluding remarks. Yes, Michael. Round of applause.
Thank you.
Bad bravo.
Thank you very much. Do I need to stand or is it okay if I sit? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for inviting me. I was kind of shocked that Wadix chose this topic for me, given that Mr. Murray is so well versed in the area. But it was interesting to me because when I read through the topic and I thought that we've covered so much about the historical context of Cadance music, and we've explored all the influences that Cadance music has had across the world. We've seen with our own eyes and we've heard from presenters the power of Cadance music and its reach. And it occurred to me that we've sort of transitioned now from the historical aspect of it into what do we do next. And I decided to sort of focus on now as opposed to what happened back in the past. Because in truth and in fact, copyright and publishing were introduced to Dominica many, many years ago. Dominica was a colony of England. And so by virtue of that, we were party to the Berne Convention. It was in 1886. we ourselves as an independent nation acceded to that particular convention in 1999. So we've been introduced to the idea of intellectual property, copyright, publishing. We are also signatory to an agreement called TRIPS, if you've heard about it, 1995. You can also Google it. It basically deals with the aspects of trade where intellectual property is concerned amongst countries that are part of the WTO. And of course, in 2003, Dominica had its own Copyright Act enacted. So we've had a history of copyright here in Dominica. But I'm pretty sure if I ask the average person here today, what is copyright? Who is able to answer that question? No one? And that is what struck me, was that although it's been present, it's been there. We've had tons of discussions about it. Mr. Murray has been, to me, flogging a dead horse about it. We've talked about it so much. But still, people do not understand the concept of copyright. What is copyright? How does it affect the music industry that we are trying to build now? We've heard a lot about what we've done in the past. But how does it affect what we are doing now in our present dispensation? So I wanted to sort of talk a little bit, not too much, about what exactly copyright is in layman's terms, so that you, if the next person asks you about copyright, you can answer, the next person can answer. So this is my definition. I'm going to give you my own definition because I did it in small words, because I've looked up many definitions of copyright and it can seem complicated. For me, copyright is an umbrella term that's given to a bundle of rights that a creator has in relation to his original works. Okay? A bundle of rights. It's not just one right. The word said copyright, but it's really rights. And those rights include the right of reproduction. Mr. Murray spoke about the record companies making copies of your CDs. The right of reproduction is a copyright, meaning the person who created the work initially has the first right to decide whether a copy of it can be made. They can assign that right to someone else if they want to, like to a record company or to. Is that understood? The right of reproduction is the same way as if you make, you create a recipe that is unique to a product that you want to sell. Coca-Cola, for example. No one can duplicate that without your permission. Okay? So that's the first right. The right of public performance, where music is concerned, where all intellectual property is concerned. Right of public performance. So if I create a work, I'm going to stand a little bit. If I create a work, I have the right to say whether or not that work can be presented in public. I mean, that is understandable. Yeah, if you write a poem, you should be the one to decide whether or not someone else can recite it, where they recite it, when, and how. Then you have the right to produce a derivative work. That basically means that any other work that comes from your work. So I know we've seen a lot in our society of songs that are changed, tweaked, right. Unless you have the permission of the author of that work, you are not allowed to do that. That right belongs to the creator of the work. Okay? The right of distribution. So if I create a book, for example, it is my right to decide where that book is distributed, how many copies I make, who I give it to. So that is, all of you are creators, so you have to understand that that right belongs to you. There's a right of public display. So if I want to put that piece of music or my book, whatever I'm creating, out to the public just to show them that I've done it, that is my right. I also have the right not to do that. Public display, right, exactly. Right of public performance through broadcasting. So the author has the right to say to a radio station, a broadcaster, or wherever, you can play this song or you cannot play this song. that right belongs to the author. It also applies to digital audio. So I know a lot of people feel like it's okay to just put things out on Facebook, on social media. You actually are usurping the right of the author when you do that. Okay? So these are rights. I wanted to make it simple because I see people nodding heads like we did not understand those concepts before. These are rights that belong to the author. Now, the author has the right to assign those to someone else. They can do that. You can assign, not every right is assignable, but you can assign, you can pick and choose the rights you want to assign. You can assign rights to your record company. You can assign rights to your publisher. And what is a publisher? Does anybody know, apart from the panelists, because I think they know already? Can anybody define or know what the word publisher means? Not yet? Well, essentially, I'm going to give you a very succinct definition because it's a very complicated topic, as Mr. Murray explained. But a publisher is that person who has the resources and the means to make your work available to the public. So you might be an excellent creator, but unless you have the know-how and the connections to put yourself out there, your work is going to remain largely unknown. That is why publishers are essential to every creative industry. Unfortunately, here in Dominica, that is almost a foreign concept to us. A lot of us self-publish in that we make a song, when we put it out on YouTube, or we just post it on, and that's that, right? But essentially, the publisher serves a very, very, very important role, critical role. When you, the writer, have all your rights, you've created your work, you, in turn, approach your publisher and say, here is my work. That publisher sees the potential in that work. And the publisher will sign a deal with you. I'm going to get that work known out there, right? And for that, you will have to share something with the publisher, which I think is something Mr. Murray was alluding to earlier, is that we have an issue with trust in Dominica. We have a feeling that we should keep it all, and we don't want to share. Well, I learned very early that 100% of nothing is nothing. 50% of something is better, isn't it? So now the publisher, and that is standard in the industry, the publisher will ask you for 50% share of your creation. Now, the publisher needs that because the publisher, for him to be able to do all the things that he has to do with your work, he has to be part owner of the work. All these rights that I described to you earlier, the publisher needs to have those rights because he's going to have to authorize distribution. He's going to have to authorize certain things. So you're going to have to share a part of that work with a publisher. Generally, it's a 50-50 split. Two arms of the music industry are, in my opinion, these two most essential parts. Because you can have a wealth of creativity, and without these fundamental aspects in place, without the framework that allows you to generate economic return from that creativity, it is for naught, isn't it? So Dominica now, I feel we have suffered a lot in that these two pillars have been the weakest part of our music ecosystem. We have not educated ourselves, sensitized ourselves enough on the subjects of copyright and publishing. And so, of course, we have talent, and our talent can go far. I mean, just in recent times, we look at songs like Family and that have millions and millions of views. So our music has the ability to compete internationally. What we don't have here, unfortunately, is the framework that allows us to leverage our creativity to our economic benefit. And I feel it is more than time, because we have proven generation after generation from the 70s to now that we are able to compete. The success of many of the bands, the Exile Ones and the Graham Axon, is because they operated within those frameworks in the French islands of Guadeloupe and Martinique, and so we had well-established systems, okay? And so a lot of the companies there were able to leverage our talent to their benefit, not to ours. So in this current dispensation, in this time where we should be wiser, we shouldn't let the same thing happen to us again. So it should be our focus, in my mind, to educate ourselves on the subjects of copyright, educate ourselves on the need for publishers. I think there are only, so I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are only 2 music publishers I know of Dominican origin. That's Markov Studio, Markov Music Publishing, and Gohen Music Publishing, okay? And I inquired of these 2 esteemed gentlemen, you know, which Dominican artists are actually signed to your publishing company? And I was surprised to find out very few. You know, Mrs. Marie signed to her husband's company. Gordon is signed to his own company. Fitzroy is signed to Gordon's company. And so we have people with the tentacles out there into the international market, and we have not used them. We have not, again, it's a matter of trust. We have not understood the industry enough to say, okay, I have gotten my work this far. I know that I do not have the wherewithal to get it further. Let me look. Let me go out and seek people who have done it before, people who know how it's done, people who still have the connections to get it done, and let me allow them. Because you know why we don't want to do it? Because we don't want to share. We don't want to share. No, I've noticed this in our society, amongst our musicians. We feel like we want to own and grab everything. But the music industry doesn't work that way. The entire industry is based on sharing and the use of rights to make money. You can own all your rights. If they are sitting there at your home doing nothing, it is of no use to you, and it doesn't help the industry to grow. And that is what we're looking for in the industry. We're looking for growth. We're looking for economic growth. We are basically sitting on a gold mine and proud that we're sitting on the gold mine as opposed to actually mining the gold. Okay? So I don't want to be very long. I just wanted to sort of give people a general idea that copyright is not some esoteric thing that exists, you know, that only elite people can understand. It's actually a simple concept of you have rights. If you create something, you have rights. And those rights can bring you economic benefit if you know the right channels to get your work exploited. Exploited is not a bad word in the music industry. You want your work to be exploited, but you just want to be paid for it. It is that simple. The more people exploit your work, the better for you as a creator. As long as you have the framework in place so that that money comes back to you as a creator. So I'm admonishing and appealing to the artists in here, the people who are listening, future artists, to pay very close attention to copyright and publishing. Because these are the pillars, these are the foundations on which you can build a successful music career. Okay, hopefully this explains a bit. And thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you very much, Michael, for your presentation. And again, reinforcing the point of the importance of music publishing and the set of new revenue streams that would derive from those aspects of the music industry. So we're moving very quickly on tonight, very efficiently for our time, I must say. You know, we have some performances lined up towards the end, but we're going to go to another video, pre-recorded video. This time we're going to look at the cadence bouillon. Yes? Sorry? Sobers? Did I miss somebody? No, somebody's going to go after. We're going to look at the video of Cornel Phillip from Cadence to Bouillon.
Hello and good evening. It's an honor being here tonight to do this presentation.
Hello and good evening.
When Wadix first approached me a couple months ago, I mean, I obviously said yes for many reasons. First of all, it's Wadix. Secondly,
Hello and good evening.
it really
It's an
gave me an
honor being here
opportunity
tonight
to
to
express
do this
couple things
presentation,
that I've
you
been
know.
saying for a while. And, when
just being
Wadix
on
first
this platform,
approached
I feel
me a
that
couple months
it
ago,
can reach to
I
the
mean, I
people,
obviously
think,
said
that
yes
matter.
for many reasons. First
not
of all,
only
it's Wadix.
us in here, but the
Secondly,
wider, the wider audiences
it really
on
gave me
social
an
media and
opportunity
stuff like
to
that.
express a
And
couple
even
things
something
that
that
I've been
can be
saying for a
documented,
while, and just being on this platform, I feel that Wadix it can approached me reach to the on people I think that matter. really Not discussing only us the in here, but the differences wider, or
the
the
wider
similarities
audiences on
between
social media and
Bouillon
stuff like
music
that.
and even
Cadance
something
music.
that can be documented.
Very,
Very interesting topic, I must say. But when
Wadix
I thought
approached me
about it,
on
it goes deeper.
really
Than just discussing
Bouillon or Cadance.
the differences,
I
or
mean,
I will just keep it at Caribbean, and this is the reason that I would name this presentation. My presentation tonight is called "We Are All the Same." We all the same when it comes to our music, whether it be Cadance, whether it be Bouillon, whether it be Zouk, whether it be compa, it be calypso, jab jab from Grenada, ring bang from Barbados, Denry segment from St. Lucia, or even soca. When you really think of it, or when I really dig deep down into the roots of the rhythmic patterns and stuff like that, honestly, we're all the same. And that is what my presentation is about tonight. So if you bear with me, I'm going to do something that can really show you what it is or where I am coming from when I say we're all the same. All right, so on the screen, I've put up a timeline with a 2-bar loop, and I'm going to show you, prove to you where we are so similar, why we are so similar, and it comes to it brings up certain concerns and certain facts, like some people tend to think that this song may be a Bouillon song, or no, it's a Cadance song, or Zouk, and such and such and such. But because of the similarities, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to the artist to tell you what this song is. Because a song may sound like Zouk to you, but the origin, which is in the mind of the producer, maybe Cadance. So they're so similar, but I will explain to you. Okay, first of all, what you see on top here, right here, is what I call the pulse. So I'm going to start the sequence right now. So this is a basic pulse, so you can, that is what you move left to right with. We're gonna be dancing here. Okay, so you can tap your feet, you nod your head or whatever. Okay, so this is what I call the pulse of the music. All right, next we can go to what I call the rhythm of the music. All right, so these two elements, the pulse and the rhythm, is what I'm going to base everything that I have said here tonight. These two elements, the pulse and the rhythm. Okay, so we have doop, 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 all right? And then we have a, okay? So I'm going to replace this right now with a kick drum. So that is the pulse. I'm going to take out, okay? Next, I am going to put, seeing that is a Cadance forum, I'm going to put in the Cadance hi-hat. Okay, I'm going to take out the pulse, the rhythm, sorry. All right. Now, if you notice, I've replaced the wood block, which was the pulse and the rhythm. I've replaced it with a kick and a hi-hat, a Cadance hi-hat. All right, I'm going to put them back in so you can hear. Exactly the same. Right? Exactly the same. Now I'm going to go back to the hi-hat. I'm going to put in a zouk hi-hat over the Cadance hi-hat. Alright, so this is the zouk hi-hat, basic zouk hi-hat. Now you notice that is the zouk hi-hat. I am going to put in the Cadance hi-hat over it, and you notice they all end up at the same, in the same part of the timeline. Right, the kick continues. Right, now zouk went there. Now there are alternatives. So to make it a little more rhythmic, which is something that was also done in Cadance music, something like this. Like you hear that little in between pulse in the hi-hat, tack, 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 tack goes to tack, 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 tack. All right. So that is something that was put in. Now, if you notice, it falls in the same rhythmic part of the music. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the Cadance hi-hats, and now yes, I'll go back to the Cadance hi-hats, and now we're going to go to the snare drum. Right. Now hear this. That is a basic soca hi-hat, snare drum, right? If you notice, it falls in the same timing as the Cadance or the zouk hi-hat, right? Something I should also mention is that, let me take out the snare and the side stick. Same as the hi-hat, very same as the hi-hat. All right, so I'm going to go back to the snare. Okay, very same timing as the hi-hat is the snare. I'm going to go to a variation of the snare, which is exactly every note of the snare is a hit of the Cadance hi-hat, and that is soca music. All right, now going to another. You understand? Now I am using soca to, probably you're saying I should be saying I'm making the distinction between Bouillon and Cadance, but I know Bouillon is already Dominican. Right, so I want to take it further because I don't have much time. So I take it out of Dominica and I'm bringing it right down to Trinidad. Even if soca is said to have come from Dominica, right? So I'm just letting you all see the relationship, because I mean I can do Bouillon right here. You know, it has the same rhythmic pattern as the Cadance hi-hat. All right, but I want to take it further to out of Dominica to really show, to give an example of what is going on, why I say that we are all the same when it comes to music in the Caribbean. You know, now I was here, right? These are rhythms that you find in all the genres of the Caribbean. You know, there are genres that are like reggae. Reggae is in a class by itself. That is another discussion. But I cannot take reggae and do the same thing, make it like overlay it and say, speak of the similarities. It is much, much, much different. All right. So you have differences. You have alternatives with the snare drum now. Okay. You know, so that is rhythmic. All that is rhythmic, and they all coincide with each other to create the general feel and the mood of the song. Okay, I'm going to do another. Okay, exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Another one. You know, and that is what Burning Flames uses. You know, that is what they are famous for, that kind of beat. You understand? Now I'm going to bring in the cowbell. You see, everything is still in there. Everything is still gelling. You know, no matter what, they still gel it. You can imagine if I put a disco beat over that, it wouldn't gel. But all these different rhythmic variations of the different genres, they're all the same. Denry, the Denry segment, they concentrate on the rim shot and the hi-hat, where it is loud. But in Cadance music, there's no rim shot. There's the hi-hat. Right after came the plates, on the crash, the muted crash. You know, so, but all of them are the same. The soca is the same, everything is the same. I'm going to put in the floor tom. Boom, boom. You understand? I'm going to put all of them, every single one of them together, and hear what happens. You understand? It's the same. It's all the same. Right? Now something else that I'm going to show you now is the rhythmic, the pitched instruments, the rhythm section, like the organ and the guitar. There is something that I always say, that the pitched instruments have to go together with the percussive instruments to create the rhythm section. All right, so let's say we're going to rhythm a song, a calypso. Some of us saying that's Cadance. It is Cadance, just like it is calypso. You understand? Because I have played all these genres, and I have put in every single element of every genre in every genre of Caribbean music. All right? Now, if I'm doing a Zouk song, right, I would focus my rhythm section on probably, most likely, the rhythm guitar, the hi-hat, and the rim shot. Right? If I'm doing a Cadance song, I will focus my rhythm section on the hi-hat, the side stick or the rim shot goes out of the window with Cadance, right? The guitar would remain. I would now add an organ. You understand? They would probably play the same thing if it was a Zouk as opposed to a Cadance. They would probably play the same thing or the same kind of pattern, but is where the focus is on the beat. You understand? The rim shot is gone on the, what you call it, the rim shot is gone in the Cadance music, but it remains in the Zouk music. It has to be heard. It will be brought up. When it is taken off for the Cadance music, the hi-hat takes the place, so it has to be more accentuated in the hi-hat. The cowbell is the same thing, you know, and I must bring up another alternate rhythm section, which was Bell's combo was famous for that. That is Calypso, or that is what we say is Calypso. It is also Cadance. Bell's combo have been doing that for a while now. Halia song, Long Tongue. Long tongue, rush their tongue. You understand? And it's the same rhythm section that is behind there, you know, filling up the rhythmic bed of the music. All right, so again, we are all the same. You know, what makes Zouk Zouk, what makes Cadance Cadance, what makes Bouyo Bouyo is the focus on the instrumentation, but the rhythm, the rhythmic section is basically the same, right? Or that's where it came from, social commentary. Cadance is also social commentary. Bouyo can be, well, it is also social commentary, but with all these three genres that I have mentioned, they also have that party vibe, right? Now, when we doing, if we are producing a song and it's for a party, the fact that we're doing a party song, it determines what kind of chords and the complexity of the chords that we use. You understand? It determines that. Now, if you're doing in sad chords, major, happy chords, right? If I'm doing a soca song, I will try my best to stay away from the minor chords. Sometimes they come in, they have their and it does win that crown. But by default, that music is disadvantaged in making it into the bigger market. You understand? I mean, I think of regional songs like Typical Dominican, which was a song Hunter did, Typical Dominican, and then he changed it to Typical Caribbean. Right? He rewrote the song to be Typical Caribbean. And that is how we could get the song out there. But the song would have had more of an impact with the Dominican lyrics and the Dominican lingo. You understand? Because it was a calypso and people, Dominicans, could relate to that. You know? And in as much as we on lyrics, there's something that I need to say because a lot of people have been talking a lot about lyrical content and stuff like that. Lyrical content is very, very important. And I always say that music, or an artist has one responsibility, and one responsibility only, to uplift someone else's life. All right? Now, I can understand probably you can have smut here and there, but you cannot make that the basis of your career. Or if you want to make it the basis of your career, find a way to bring it out. Let the mind think. You know, let the mind think. Do it in such a way that it doesn't jump out at you and you know exactly what it's talking about. You know, be crafty with your lyrics. You know, it is sad. You know, it really, really, I am worried because smutty lyrics will not last 100 years, whereas social commentary and storytelling and just the basic jump and wave will last forever. But I cannot see smut. I mean, and that is something that I will tell to every artist. I mean, you can have your smut and you can, you know, do things and say things and such, but you have a responsibility to your society, to where you live, to the people that you perform to. Let's not degrade women. Let's not degrade men. Let's not bring down somebody by, I mean, you want to say something about somebody, find a crafty way to say it, but you want to say a woman is beautiful, find a nice way to say it instead of going raw, or I want to kiss somebody, or I want to whatever. There are ways of doing it, but I don't think that we should be raw and try to defend it. I mean, I know I'm stepping on toes here right now, but that's not the responsibility of a musician. It is not. The responsibility of a musician or any artist is to uplift the people that they bring the product to, that they bring the song, the painting, the writing, is to uplift. You know, and I know a lot of people probably checking, is Magia talking, but that is what it is, or that is how I was brought up. And I think our society would be a much better place if we sang lyrics that were uplifting. You know, so this is my presentation. I hope that I shed some light on some things. I hope I didn't offend anyone. You know, oh, and something else I want to say. Cadance music. Some people some people have the impression that Bouyon music is a spin of Cadance music. But although Cadance music eventually had an influence on Bouyon music, definitely. You know, if you listen to certain Bouyon songs, you'll hear the Cadance organ in there. You know, you will hear all kind of things in there. You know, but I just want to say that Bouyon music is 100%, came 100% from the traditional rhythms of Dominica. I knew that because I was the one who was listening to the jimping bands and the quadrille bands and everything, you know, and I was the one who was trying to play like them. So Bouyon, as I say, is the modernization of the traditional rhythms of Dominica. And through the development of Bouyon music, the Cadance had its great influence, definitely. And when I started to play with Exile One and Fitzroy, and you know, and really being roommates with Fitzroy and just talking to Fitzroy, sitting at the table with Fitzroy, you know, and even Freddie, and getting to play with people like Jerry, you know, even if Jerry has been playing for much longer than me, so he's somebody that I look up to, you know, and check his style and stuff like that. You know, so many musicians, Jeff, you know, so many people that I played with, and yes, Cadance music did have an influence and has had an influence on Bouyon music, but it was not the influence that created Bouyon music. Okay, so Thank you again for your time. I hope you got something out of the presentation. And I'd just like to say thank you to Hadley Joseph from Drumhead Studios for making me use this space. I was looking all around, but we've been driving for the last 4 hours to head up to Maryland. So I just stopped over in North Carolina and got a studio. He asked if I could use the studio, so thanks to him for that. So do enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you very much. Bye.
Yes, okay. Okay, right. Very interesting presentation by Cornell here, doing a bit of more dissection of the music. Now we're gonna move into Sober's Estrid's presentation, and we will wrap up with our friends Carlton and Ra. So Sober's is going to explore basically a sort of a forward movement in that sense, a framework for successful music sector. So over to you, Sobers.
Yes, thank you very much. And good night, everybody. Bonsoir. Yeah, so let me just hail the organizers of Cadance-Lypso month for what I believe is a successful month. So let's give it to them. Yeah. So for us, for me, the challenge is how to move from, and Mikkel and I were just talking about it, from talking about culture as in its pure intrinsic form, what we know culture to be, the way of life and all those things we talk about. And how do we move it from there to what we call now, in this new dispensation, to industrialize culture, to make it more living, to make it more meaningful, to give it value. That is a challenge that we have, folks. And so, for me, the last month has been a month of real serious reflection and conversations that I think was necessary. And I saw a posting somewhere saying that it was a history month. It's a month of history lessons. And I say to the people who say those things that as a society, sometimes we need to stop, we need to think, we need to reflect, and we need to have serious conversations so that we can address problems that confront us as a society. And so I am happy about what is happening now, and I know what will happen in the months and the years to come. So for me, it was indeed a month of learning some really important lessons, understanding or sharing shared experiences, but also what Gordon Henderson called a bittersweet moment as well. Some things were great, but some things were frustrating and challenging that we can reflect on. So from now on, for me, it is about moving forward together. We have to move forward together. So we need to stop romanticizing about what happened in the 1970s and 80s. Great as they were, successful as they may have been, but of course challenging nonetheless. And I think for us, it is about recognizing, though, that many of the things that we saw during that period, because during the month, we reflected a lot of these challenges. So tonight we spoke about some of them. The lack of publishing, the copyright, even if we have legislation, but we still haven't moved very much in terms of copyright and publishing. We haven't moved very much in terms of the business of music, understanding the music ecosystem, and how do we develop and expand on that ecosystem. How do we train our people involved who are practitioners in the field to understand the myriad of things that we're talking about that they have to do? Where is the education? Where is the training programs? We talk about the challenges for investment. Culture is like any industry that requires investment, that requires support. At the micro level, at the state level, at the regional level, at the international level. Culture requires that level of investment so that it can be sustained and so that we can see greater success. So for us, the goal is for us to build an industry that can generate foreign exchange, create jobs, and sustain living, so that the people who benefit, who participate in the process, can in fact earn a decent wage, earn a decent living. So the Raz and the Michaels and all of the artists, all of the practitioners, they can benefit more meaningfully in this industry. So for us, I would say that we have a mission. We have a destiny. You know, the destiny of this thing is in our hands. It is for our generation. And I say our generation because God knows them, they were a few years older than us, and I respected them, I looked up to them. But I think it is for this generation, my generation and the generation after me, to take this thing, to take the mantle and to run with it. Because God and them, they have laid the foundation. They have laid serious foundation for us and for those to come. It is now for us to take it and to move it forward so that we can see a new period of growth and success for Dominica's music regionally. Because the truth is, Dominican, as we heard from Martinique, from Guadeloupe, from the Seychelles, from Haiti, from Dominica, and from all over, that kind of music, in fact, had a huge impact on the global music business. However, it didn't translate into economic benefits for us as a country and for the people who participated in the process. And so that is for us the challenge in moving forward. That is for us our key mission going forward, to take the music and to build on what has been started by Gordon and the other pioneers of Cadance-Lypso music. And as Cornell rightly pointed out, all the music are the same, folks. Stop this argument about whether it's bouillon, it's soca, it's zouk, and so all this music are relatively the same music. There are some slight variations, slight differences. So what we have to do is play our part and make it happen. And so I want to just throw out a few things that I think are really key for us to help to build a framework for moving our music business to an industry. So I want to start first by talking about what we need to do at the micro level. That is to say, artist level, the enterprise level. Because we have artists who are not really organized into a business. So they're just artists, they're performers. And they're delivering, for the most part, a service. But we have artists and we have groups that are businesses, that are enterprises. So we have Michael Henderson Inc. That is an enterprise. It's registered, it has a logo, it has a name, it pays taxes, it contributes social security, and so on. And so that is the first level I want to deal with. So what are the things that we really need to focus on? Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is to look at the business side of it, the business ecosystem for music. There needs to be a whole re-education or education about how a music business operates. What are the key ingredients for that? So you have to register a name, folks. You have to have a logo, a sign, a brand, you know. You have to have managers or people to conduct the business on a day-to-day basis, because the artist cannot be the manager, the promoter, the publisher, the everything. Obviously, it will take different levels. The more successful you are, obviously, the better you are able to pay for management services. But even when we need to develop the capacity at the technical level. You see what Cornell was doing a while ago? We have to spend some time in doing that. Because, folks, the reality is that the global music business has changed. The kind of music people want, what they're demanding, is not necessarily what we are playing or what we are creating. So we have to understand the whole range of demands that is out there. So whether it's whatever market that we're targeting, how we focus on doing that. So we have to provide the build capacity in music production, in songwriting, in marketing, and all the technical skills needed for us to create content. So the other thing is that we talk about management and management skills. There is need for us to look at the cadre of management personnel and people involved in the business of music. So we talk about managers and promoters and song engineers and producers and entertainment lawyers and publicists. We may not be able to do it all at once, but incrementally, these are the areas that we have to focus our attention to, in fact, get going. So, Michael was saying that in spite of the fact that we have a lot of talent in Dominica, we have failed in a few areas. So here's the thing. When we look at what we call the value chain in the music business, that is all the activities involved in the music, what we say in the language of the industry, on the upstream end of the industry, we are good at that. We can create content. We have created 2 genres of music, Cadance-Lypso and Bouillon. And we're great. We've been hearing our music all over the world. But on the downstream end, that is where we're weak. So the branding, the marketing, the distribution, the publishing, we have to focus more attention in those areas so that we can, in fact, see much more returns and greater benefits to those persons who participate in the process of creating the content that we talk about as a country. So remember that, the downstream side, we have to focus attention on. The marketing, the branding, the distribution, the sales, the e-commerce, so that we can benefit more from that. The other issue is the issue of monetizing the music assets that we have. And when I say assets, I talk about a range of assets. From the personalities, like a Michael Henderson, to the actual content, and all of those things. We need to find now new ways to generate more revenue. And Mark was illustrating very clearly the fact that the way people consume music globally has changed dramatically in the last 30 years. So people used to buy cassettes and then CDs and records and so. Those days are done. So it's now about streaming. It is about the concert and tour circuits. So there are lots of festivals and concerts all over the world. We have to be organized now. We have to be sharp, and that's where our managers come in, our promoters come in, to find out where these festivals are, to find out where the tours are, so that we can, in fact, see our artists and our groups participating and benefiting from the concert and tour circuit. Then Michael spoke about copyright. That is another major area, and publishing. Now, the other thing is merchandising. The well-known bands and artists should be getting involved more in merchandising. I mean, I know some people do it, but we need to see much more of that. And we need our public now to consume those items, to buy those items. And licensing deals. So these are some of the areas that we can generate revenue. And of course, the festival circuit, both locally and regionally. There are too many festivals in the Caribbean, and we are not seeing Dominican artists and Dominican bands at those festivals. Let me say it again. There are too many festivals happening in the Caribbean, and we're not there. We have to find our way there. We have to get into those festivals, and so that we can earn some of the EC or euros or whatever it is. Okay? Then, the other thing that we have to do, which is critical, is to see the enhancement, the development of the CMOs, that is the copyright bodies that do the collection on behalf of the right owners. So in our case, it's the ECHO. It is, which other one again, whoever? JCAP and the others. So we have individually and collectively, and even at the national level, to ensure that those agencies are strengthened and they become much more effective in both tracking what we have out there, as well as collecting on our behalf as right owners. So that is a major task going forward. We have to optimize the use of social media and the major platforms to promote, to distribute, to market, and to sell our music. And Mark spoke about that, and I think Michael spoke about it to some extent. So we have to get our music on live streaming platforms, on YouTube, and so on, so that we can get the word out there, to get the message out there. So, because too many of us using social media just for personal stuff, We have to use it now for the real purpose for which it is intended, which is to get our business going. So these are some of the imperatives at the micro level, at the very micro level. And there are other things that we can do as well. So I just emphasize some of them. Now, at the macro level now, that is at the institutional level, at the state level, there are a number of things that we have to do as a country. There are several agencies in the country working in the space that is called creative industries, whether it be music, it be fashion, or whatever. We have to see a strengthening of those organizations so that they can deliver much more effectively and much more efficiently. And at this time, many of those agencies, they really haven't got the requisite skills in-house to be able to deliver programs for the creative industries, whether it be music and so on. And there are several of them. There is Dexia, there is the Ministry of Trade, there is Small Business Unit, there is the Dominica Festivals Commission, and so on and so forth. There are several of them. So what we want to see is to help, to work with them where possible, but they themselves, they need to invest in their staff, invest in the institutions, so that they can have systems that can be able to more effectively deliver programs for the creative industries. At the educational level, that is another major area, folks. At two levels. One is we need to see curricular development for primary and secondary schools in arts and cultural education. So that at those levels, we can see more consistent programs and better quality programs. It's not vice-versa. We want to have trained teachers in the primary schools, in the secondary schools, teaching art, teaching music, teaching design. And at the tertiary level, we want to see our tertiary level institutions, both the Dominica State College, the University of the West Indies, University of Trinidad and Tobago, etc. in the Caribbean, that can deliver much more programs in the arts, so we can have professionals coming out of these programs with degrees and certificates, and so they can become more professional and proficient in the delivery of what they do. We have TVET education going on now, certificate level, and we need to see it happen, the same way happening in other fields, we need to see it in the creative arts. I believe also at the national level, we need to see support for our copyright, not our intellectual property offices. They have an important role to play, and we need to see more investment there in terms of technology, in terms of the staff training and development, and giving them opportunities for exposure at the regional and international level. Of course, for all of these things to happen, we need money. We need money. We need money. So we need to see financial instruments, whether it be through grants, through credit facilities, be organized and developed so that we can really help enterprises and well-intended projects to thrive and to be successful. And the other area is the area of regulation and legislation and incentives. That is at the state level. We need to see that happening. We need to see a rethink of the cultural policy. We need to see new legislation to support the cultural industries. And of course, we need to see much better regulation governing the industry. So these are things that we need at the macro level. So again, these are just some issues. The other issue is data collection, because we need to be much more efficient in collecting data on the sector so that we can, in fact, help use that data to inform public policy on creative industries. And then the last thing I want to talk about is some ideas for projects post this Cadance-Lypso month, directly related to Cadance-Lypso. So, one, I would like to see the institutionalization of a permanent memory of Cadance-Lypso in Dominica, possibly through a museum project, which is it could be NGO government, and there is some work going on in that area. So the idea is to create a museum that, one, attracts visitors, but at the same time restore, archive, document the experiences of our Cadance-Lypso legend and those who in fact gave their lives and their talent to making the music such a big thing for Dominica. The second thing is to see how we can integrate the memories and the personalities of our musicians, and in this case, the legends of Cadance-Lypso, into the tourism tour packages. So for example, a tour around Jeff Joe, a tour around Michael Henderson and Chubby and Co. in Grand Bay. So where we highlight their work, their contribution, their background, where they came from, where they live, the streets, and so on. So we need to see it happening. And of course, that they become part of our tourism promotion as well, so that they can add some more value to our tourism marketing. The other thing is to build within our major festivals, whether it be Carnival, the World Creole Music Festival, and other events, spaces to showcase emerging talents, and at the same time to be able to sell musical goods and services during this festival. So in other words, I would like to see a marketplace, for example, during Carnival. Let's have a huge marketplace where we can sell services, we can expose our young talents. Same thing during Creole Music Festival. We can bring down promoters from major concerts and other people who are looking for talents. Let us see that happening during Creole Music Festival time, so that our artists could be better exposed. It's not just on the main stage, but also through a showcasing of that talent and exposure for them. Yeah. The other thing is mentorship programs. So I spoke about that on the first panel, and I think it's something that we have to do. It's an imperative for us. So we need to identify the people who can be mentors from among the group. So, and Ophelia Murray, for example, I think is a great mentor. She was a great teacher. And so she could really be part of a mentorship team, working with young singers and performers. And we can do it for other mentors in singing, in performance skills, in writing songs, in music production, and so on. So a mentorship program. We need to, at the micro sector level, yes, we talk about the issue of publishing houses. We say we have only 2 of them, and they're not very well subscribed. But part of the reason why they not subscribe is because they need some support. So we need to see some support for Makoff and for Gohen. So whether it be small grants, technical assistance, and so on, we need to see that happening. And not just publishing houses, but production houses. So we need to see the creation of production houses, studios that are well organized, that people can know they can go there and they can work for a period of time, but we need to support them so that it can be easier for our young artists to go there and to work, and so on. And experimentation in recording, collaboration. Cornell was trying to do something there earlier, those kind of things. So let us go through some experimentation, but that requires many hours of rehearsal and working in a studio space. Encourage collaboration at the regional and local level. Schools-based programs, for example, school bands, we need to see it happening. So I know Goodwill School used to have a school band, but I would like to see Grand Bay Pierre Charles Secondary School. Do they have a school band? Not right now. But they should have a school band. Not in a community like that. Community music projects, so music centers, in particularly the areas where music is strong. We need to see those kinds of programs in the centers and to train and to expose people. Media support, ongoing media support. And it's not just about playing the music, folks. It's much more than that. So I want to see, for example, coverage, news coverage. We're having a lot of events, and many of them are not covered in the news. Or if they're covered, you see little things about them, little snippets. 20 years from now, we don't know what happened. So we need to see better news coverage and packaging of news information. Documentaries. So why haven't we done a documentary on Ophelia, for example? It's high time, on Mikel. You know, we need to do more of that. And I challenge all of us, including me. I think we have the onus on us to do those kinds of things. And then, of course, the last thing is, I want to throw out, is our Arts and Music Foundation to support the music and the performing arts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sobers Esprit. taking us through and really looking forward some of the imperatives, some of the important things that we have to do going forward. I know Wadix indicated that as well, that there are some initiatives that we're going to undertake as follow-up to Cadance-Lypso month, and Sobers already is flagging some of those. Now to wrap up this segment of the proceedings, we're going to focus now. Well, Cornell he sort of dissected the music and showed the correlations, if you might say, from a rhythmic, pulse, technical point of view to the creation of the music. Now we're going to have Derek Ra Peters and Carlton here, both who you might say associated with the bouillon genre, but who also lived through the period of the cadence, let's say the cadence era. And so they're going to sort of share their experiences in that, if you might say, transition from cadence to bouillon. So we'll begin first with Derek Ra Peters, to share his thoughts and experiences on that. Yes, Ra? Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Nice to have me here. I want to big up Wadix one time for putting on such a great program. I think he deserves a round of applause. And of course, all the people and them supporting him doing that. I want to start off by first giving a little tribute to my dad, who passed recently. And you know, he was one of those that took me around from really small, taking me to Carnival City. He was a member of the JCs back in the day with all guys like Urban Harrigan and all those guys. You know, we must, I must give him thanks for, you know, taking me around from very small. He was very instrumental in building the stage for Carnival as well, along with some of the inmates or the prison. Some of you may know him as Lawrence Peters. Of course, he was a woodwork instructor, teaching in technical wing, Woodville School, Maho, Portsmouth, and all that. So I wanted to just take time to acknowledge. And I hear that Jacob Duvalier has passed. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we acknowledge that. First of all, I want to start with the whole Cadance era. I was able to be part of that Cadance era towards the end of it. That was in about 1979. Before that, I heard about the group that was being formed in about 1972 or 73, whatever. And heard that from a guy named Eddie Wilson, it's now passed. And he talked about a band that was being formed and they're going to come out and they're going to come out real strong. That was about 1972. While we were doing a show opening for Gaylord's Power Union in the Arawak Cinema. And I heard about that group. And finally, I heard it was Exile One. And I was there to see them play, opening for them as well. But what happened is that we end up a group named Earth. We end up getting a deal in 1979, which was a very a year with a lot of activities. And we went to Guadeloupe and we recorded an album under the name of Liquid Ice, but actually the name of the group was Earth. So we had people in the band like playing, Spikey was on guitar, we had Spikey Gaze, what people know, maybe know Spikey. We had Frankie Tong, you know Frankie Tong, I see Jerry nodding his head, and I seen Brohim right there. We'll get to Brohim in a while. We had people like Dexter Valmore, which was the brother of Tony Valmore, and it's through Tony that we got the deal to record in Guadeloupe. Who again that I missed? Derek Thomas was on bass. I think I had it basically covered. Of course, Walkers was on guitar. Walkers was on guitar, and I did vocals and percussions at that time, and we recorded in Guadeloupe. Well, Brohim would know about it because Brohim was right there, passing the records and watching us practice there, you know, we were next door, right? We were right by Dexter's mother's place, rehearsing, right? Yeah, and Brohim would always pass the records first and stuff like that, maybe Earth, Wind and Fire, whatever it is. But no, we were lucky to, I don't know if lucky is the word, but blessed to be able to record. So that was my experience in the Cadance era. But moving on, we went further. By that time, 1979, you know, the hurricane came and killed out everything. So, you know, there was a lull for bands and stuff like that. The bands, the Cadance thing was starting to drop a bit, and we had an invasion. We had an invasion with what we call the jam band music, and was really taken over with the drum machine and the electronic music started coming. So we, it was Smokey, that's Cornell brother that tell me, well, he want to form a band, and well, okay, that was history. We made a band and we create that sound, working and developing that beat, you know. Well, I personally, I didn't want to be sounding like Burning Flames and like Jam Band and the rest of the group. I think that we had some beats here, for instance, the Lapoca beats, we had Jingping, we had the Belly, you know, so I figure why not Fuse, which is an overused word. So I decided, well, you know, when I put this thing together and make this work, you know, put it in the rhythm and stuff like that. And by the time we had that medium where you could sample a song and put it through, you know, which I call it we actually booyerize the whole vibes, you know, so put it in there. So this way we come up with that whole thing of the booyah vibe, you know. So after that, of course, my personal influences was groups like, for instance, Osibesa, Malo, Tito Puente, those type of groups that I was into, Fela Ransom Kunti, the guy did Soul Makusa, I think. Pembo would know that guy, right? Yes, Mano Dibango. Yeah, Mano Dibango and all those guys. So that in itself had an influence on me, of course. I listened to a lot of reggae music back in the time there, so I did a lot of listening to like Wailers and the whole 9 yards, from ska to rocksteady to blue beat to dub to reggae, you know. So I decided, well, you know, if we fuse all those different, you know, genres, then we could come up with something. So that was the whole idea. So that was the whole vibes with booyah and stuff like that, you know. So that was history, but there were a lot of other stuff we could get into, but we'll just pass that now. Right now, we could see that we technically at a crossroads right now with the music, meaning that we have a thing with the lyrical content and, you know, and the music orchestration as well. So we need to really check on that. I mean, you see, when WCK get a little a low and well, Triple K kind of come in the lyrical content and stuff like that. They get a vibe and it was nice, and they start to drop some lyrics on there. Some was not so nice to the ear, but you know, people love it still. Even people say they hate it, but they was dancing to it and they love it, you know. I mean, so we need to really address that right now because if you could see clearly, it's kind of going out of hand right now. We need to really address it. For when Triple K drop their style, for instance, there's a new guy on the scene. I think we should make mention of him. There's a Ridge. He's coming up with a new stuff. And it's really getting wild, so we really need to put it under control. But Shubas was making a point about the economic parts, so we could decide where we're really going with that. If we just about economics, or if we're doing a thing for our culture and for our morals and stuff like that, so we could decide if we going straight for the money, so we could maybe do a ridge. If we go in for, the culture, how we going to deal with it. And it's left now to the powers that be, the DJs, venue owners, the radio station owners, the different people that, would have the strength, the organizations like DFC and all those places there to really push it, and push the music that making, really sense, and, that way there we want to be at the crossroads where we are right now to seeing, well, our music is going to, well, it's all of us music, but now it's going to places like Trinidad. We've seen what they're doing with it. We see what Solution is doing with it. We see what Grenada and all the rest of them doing with it. And now we know we going like Cranana. It's like everybody's having a field day, and now, we left with nothing. So now we need to take a serious hold of what we're doing there. And as Sora's expressed already, how we need to get organized. The marketing, that's so important, and I kind of felt like a stock record because I've said that in so many interviews. Some people tell me, oh, they tired of me talk and stuff like that, and talking about the same thing. But again, we have to bring that point, because like it's in repetition, it will maybe sink in, A friend had given me an illustration about how it works, but I don't think it is right now to see it in that form, It's like taking something and sending it against a wall, and some will stick. So, we need to, grab a hold, we need to grab a hold of what we're doing and stuff like that. And of course, the powers that be that need to really step in. Because, for instance, if we talk about economics, I remember back in the days when we were doing stuff like, say, we'd do something in Aquacade or Cicero, or our favorite spot, right by warehouse there, Good Times, right? People would be coming down for a weekend, and I sure have people here that can, attest to that, people were flying in for a weekend just to hear maybe CK or Serenade in a jam. They would just fly in, So now that had the economic strength, so it's not to see that it's something new to us that we don't know, about the economic value and how we could tap it. It's just that we need this, we need this support, and Subas was talking about it, that, we maybe need grants. Loans may be not the right way to go because, we struggle as musicians. We struggle, we put out our money. For I myself can really attest that I've spent, a lot of my personal funds, pushing artists, bands, individuals, to get the industry going. But now, like they say, some people, they find the soil, they plant the seed, you nurture the tree, it bear fruit, and somebody else with the basket picking all, and you just have to be watching. And so I could see that we've done a lot of work, we've done a lot of work, and Michael said it, Max said it, and other people have said it already, that we need to organize the industry, We need to organize the industry, and, Subas spoke about the different areas, the producers, the DJs, the venue owners, the musicians, the training, and all that, So basically, we have to, grab a hold of it. Mikel used my words, she's saying, well, if we don't mind our business, somebody else will be minding it for us. So we have to mind it, or somebody else will mind it for us. Thank you very much. I think I'll cut off for now.
Yes, thank you, Ra. Very spot on in terms of the presentation. And again, a recognition of the importance of organization for the industry. So a lot of the recommendations coming out of this Cadance month's celebrations and observations are equally, not really specific to Cadance, important to the genre of bouillon and the other local flavors that we have in Dominica. And so to wrap it up on the Cadance Bouillon experience, Carlton, who is the leader of the band Serenade, another very important band, which emerged, you might say, at the sort of end of the zenith of Cadance-Lypso, but living through that experience, how it impacted on Serenade's music leading into the bouillon era. Let us hear from Carlton. Let him reflect on some of the experiences of Serenade. Yes, Carlton. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Well, I must say, Dominica is a blessed country to have two genres of music, Cadance-Lypso and bouillon. And I am happy that First Serenade has been a part of this Cadance-Lypso music and bouillon music, contributing to Dominica and what it has to offer. But I still believe that in Dominica we have to do a lot more to promote what we have, and we have to love it much more. And one of my issues is that our DJs on the radio stations, apart from Wadix is doing a fantastic job. Our DJs in Dominica, they're playing too much reggae. I have an issue with that. Many of our DJs in Dominica have to do better than that, and that is one of my major problems. I'll be brief tonight, and I will tell you why. We have to promote what we have, and we have to do it crucially, and I'll tell you why. A few years ago, I went to Barbados to get Serenade's visas. That was a few years ago. And I used to work with CDs to pass to radio stations like Voice of Barbados and so. And I met a DJ, and I told him, well, I'm from Dominica. I'm offering you a CD. Can you play a song on the roadside, He didn't have to buy it. He just had to play one song. It was around crop over time. And he goes to me like, right now, man, it's crop over time, man. We're not playing no foreign music, man. So I think, but wait a while now, man. I mean, I'm from Dominica. Crossfire always come in Dominica. They're playing with us. They're working out with us. Why you cannot play the music? And this DJ takes his microphone and he tells his audience, well, this is a band from Dominica. Crossfire, they'll go to Dominica and play with them. So I'm going to play their song. If this song was 4 minutes, this song did not play for 5 seconds. So we in Dominica, we have to be like that to promote what is ours. And I have a problem because our DJs in Dominica, they're playing more reggae than they play our music. And all you know that. And that is one thing that has to change. We have to fix that, okay? On another note, I'll be brief tonight, I want to talk about Adrian Mitchell, my partner. Right now, he's very low at the Princess Margaret Hospital, China, Dominica Friendship Hospital. Yeah, I forgot that, right? Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He's on the Emory ward. And anybody in here who can donate blood, if you can go up to the hospital and you can donate blood on behalf of Adrian Mitchell, it would be very appreciative from his friends, guys like us, and his family, because he needs blood. Because right now he's going down. But all of us know Bassman Archie contributed a lot to music in Dominica on the bouillon and the cadence genre, because Bassman Archie wrote a lot of songs. And that is a man that is an icon to Dominica's music, you know. On another note, I'll go down and I will talk about the recognition of NCCU. I see Mr. Harrigan there. And that is one of the best things that ever happened to Dominica, in that they promoted the Cadance-Lypso competition. And that in itself helped our music. We had a conversation a few weeks ago, and I told Mr. Harrigan, I think every year that we did the competition, we should have recorded the songs for posterity. Because 10, 15, 20 years down the line, the recorded music would have made a difference to Dominica and what we were contributing to our country. And NCCU, big up, you guys did a very good job on that. So I just hope that as soon as possible, COVID will be out of the way. NCCU will call that competition again, and we'll get that going to promote Dominica's culture and Dominica's music, because that is very important. That is ours, and we have to promote it. We have to be militant on that to promote what is ours, because other people will not do it first. You see what happened in Barbados? Man, right now it's crop over time. We don't play no foreign music, man. So we have to promote what is ours. Our DJs can't be there playing a whole set of reggae. I want to hear, Miguel, sorry, I know Wadix is your partner, but I want to hear Cadence on the Broadwalk. I want to hear Cadence on the Broadwalk, because that is Dominica, that is ours. If we don't do it, nobody will do it for us. Okay? I want to go to Wadix again. We are between Martinique to the south, Guadeloupe to the north. 500,000 people on each island. That is a fantastic market, and we have to take advantage of that. And Wadix is doing a fantastic job in promoting that music, because between Martinique and Guadeloupe, Dominica can see its way better with our music, because there's a market, there's a clientele. And we have to promote that cadence and that bouillon. That is what we have to offer. That is our culture. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I would have been brief, because when I leave here, I have to go back to the hospital to check my partner. So, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Carlton. Again, driving home the point that we have to support our own. We got to support our own. We've got to promote our... sorry, we are not taking any questions tonight. But
once you donate, you'll put it in the bank.
Yeah.
Once you donate, you'll put it in the bank for you.
But I just want to...
All right, sorry guys, but yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello? Yes. I think everybody here heard about an organization called AMP. They also would have heard that the Prime Minister of Dominica said he was giving $500,000 towards developing the music industry in Dominica. Yeah? Okay, we spent about $100,000 basically doing training. Unfortunately, especially in the sound engineering training we had, the people who came were the very novices. Since it's a 10-day course, the people who would have benefited the most would have been the people who had been doing this for a while and who could understand and improve their skills from that day. None of them came. Okay. We also did a session on songwriting. A couple of people came. Both of those persons said this: there is no cooperation in Dominica among the people involved in music. Everybody writes his song by himself, alone, and everybody has his little studio. He doesn't invite his colleagues to come and hear what he's doing or no such thing. And we organized, I organized, well, I'm saying, not we, much me, is mommy, organized a tour to promote Dominica's music in Martinique, Guadeloupe, and France, as with part of the money that the government had offered. We wrote a document, myself and the gentleman who worked at Dex at the time, called Craig Stedman. I was just emailing him there. We did everything possible, and we were taking 5 frontline singers with a band to go to Martinique and Guadeloupe to promote the music. As Carlton was saying, there's a great market there. I had a letter, I still have the letter, from the Trace Company, who have TV and radio. They have a radio station in Martinique and one in Cayenne. Yes? The letter says, we will do everything to promote Dominica's music. And all of that actually comes from, if you like, the social capital of Ophelia and myself. Yeah? No, just put it as it is. When we're about to go and get everything ready, we suddenly, just before the hurricane, got an email saying, well, the money wasn't really available for that. Which was an odd thing because it had been agreed. And I know the reason that happened was because some persons were not chosen to go on the tour. Now everybody in Dominica who is a singer can't go. So, I mean, it's a simple common sense. If all of us try to go through that door there, we'll just be stuck there. One person must go at a time and then we follow. So the whole point was to, sometimes people don't have imagination, but anyway, to use a spear to bore through a thing. The others then follow. That's what happened with Cadance-Lypso when it started. Exile One was the one who started it. And then because it became associated with Dominica, anybody in Dominica who couldn't tune his guitar, if you listen to them records from 1970, a lot of them, the guitar and tone out to tune. But they wanted Dominica persons on the thing. So that, I don't know how we're going to fix that, but that is a major problem as to getting Dominica's music back where it was. I have another story to tell you, but the guy wants to do something there. I had organized, let me say it, I have to say it. I had organized with the librarians who had 3 record shops in Martinique at the time to put a stand in their shops with Musique de la Dominique on it. When I come back, me and Gordon discussing that with the fellas, because Gordon had a thing could make CDs and so on as well. But what you do in music now? And that was the end of the story. That didn't go forward. That was to promote Dominican music in a market that, as Carlton himself said there, is ready for Dominican music. That's where Dominica can make money to start with, and then it can go further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Okay, this takes us to the end of the panel discussion, in that sense of the discussion part. We've got performances to go, but let's big up all the presenters tonight, those who presented from abroad and those who are here with us. Let us shake up the house. Now we're going to bring on, before we bring on the live performances and really have the sort of a fun part, let us bring on the man himself, Leroy Waddix, Charles, with a big surprise. Leroy has a big surprise for us.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I really want to thank everyone for the first ever Cadance-Lypso month. I want to give thanks and praises to the Father for the opportunity to do it for Dominica. And all those who took part in any way or the other, we want to thank you. It meant so much to the legends overseas when they would hear Cadance is back with a force. The nostalgia, the mere fact that this particular genre shouldered Dominica to the four corners of the globe. And we are now finding out the history behind it. The stories behind the musicians playing the music we enjoyed. We hope that we can move this journey to a different level. We're already dubbing next year as Reunion 2022, Cadance Reunion 2022. Everyone who's played Cadance music, wherever you are, we're asking you to return home for the month of July 2022. We heard the Prime Minister earlier this week said that he already will be partnering with the project. NCCU has already endorsed they'll be part of the project. This is an international genre. Made Dominica's name stand out there. People do not like me to say it. I still believe it has the authenticity to allow us to have the World Creole Music Festival. For a few people, we just want to recognize for your contributions. Like I said, we want to thank everyone. So I'll now call on my daughter to assist me with the plaques first. And where's Brohim, the sign man? Let's give this brother a round of applause. So Brohim, the first plaque goes to
Sobers Esprit.
Sobers Esprit for your contribution as a presenter. We want to really thank you. And by the way, Sobers is one of the hardest working guys in entertainment and culture of Dominica. The next plaque goes to Brohim.
Derek Ra Peters.
Derek Ra Peters, thank you very much for your presentation tonight. And we thank you for what you have done for Dominica. And this next plaque goes to?
I cannot pronounce that name now.
La Grande de la Chanson Antillaise. Moderator and continue to be a stalwart. And we want to say thank you. And we also want to say a special thank you to another presenter. Thank you so very much. And this presenter goes by the name of?
McCarthy married.
From the wife to the husband. McCarthy Mary, we want to say thank you for your presentation in Creole and tonight in English. And we want to say thank you. That's our little way of saying thank you. You're truly one of Dominica's great sons. Thank you very much. Okay, and this next plaque goes to?
We had La Grande Dame.
So we have the princess. The princess of song, Dominica's Mikael Anderson. Thank you very much, princess. Excellent presentation this evening. And we also have another presentation this time too.
Carlton Winston.
Carlton Winston, we thank you so very much. And we also want to say thank you, Calty, Serenade, and give Archie all our love. Okay, and this next plaque goes to?
Washla.
Washla, go Wash. We have a few other plaques. They are not here this evening. One for Tim Jura, one for Dennis Joseph, Ian Jackson, and also Cornell Fingers Phillip. We have a few certificates we would like to give as we want to show our appreciation. And the first one we would like to give is the NCCU. Come, Harrigan, and take this on behalf of our partners, the NCCU. We want to say thank you. And the NCCU has been doing tremendous work in contributing to the Cadance-Lypso music. We also want to say thank you to Dr. Damian Dublin and the Dublin Dental Clinic. Thank you very much, Dr. Damian Dublin. Has been doing tremendous work in really putting things together for us. We also want to say a special thank you to the White Ferry. Where's the White Ferry? Should be somewhere on the outside. The White Ferry will get this after this performance. Also, we want to say thank you to Fine Foods Inc. So we get a representative from Fine Foods Inc., Tyron. We want to say thank you to Fine Foods Inc. They're giving us some cocktails, and they have been with us from inception. We want to say thank you to DBS Radio. Thank you, DBS Radio Dean or Derrickson. You could come and pick this up on behalf of DBS Radio. We want to say thank you to DBS Radio for partnering with us. We also want to say thank you, special thank you to the building that we are now presently housing this final panel discussion, Alliance Process de la Dominique. We want to say thank you to Dion. We also want to say special thank you to a lovely lady. She sang us the national anthem earlier this evening, Lady S. Thank you very much for your contribution throughout. Special guests. And I saw Calfa P somewhere in the building. I guess they're outside having a warm-up. But we want to say thank you to Calfa P. He'll get it after. And we want to say a big thank you to the guy who have been streaming us from panel discussion 1. And this man is one we really want to give a round of applause. Lyndon Lestrade and Multi Solutions Inc. Okay, we want to say special thank you to Lyndon Lestrade and Multi Solutions Inc. Okay, thank you very much, Lyndon. We also want to say special thank you to Ken Richards and Old Street Audacity Radio for partnering with us. We also want to say special thank you to, thank you very much, Ken Richards, a lovely lady, Janet Azus Angel. Thank you very much for being a part of the week, the month, Cadance-Lypso month, a historic month. Thank you very much, Janet. We also want to say thank you and special good night to Jerry Lloyd. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you very much, Jerry Lloyd. And we just have a few more. Thank you very much, my brother. I guess Lobster is in that conversation that seemed to be hot on the outside. We also have one for MO News. I think Brohim will take that on behalf of MO News. MO News, Brohim. And while Brohim is here, he continued to give, but we want to give him something to say thank you, Brohim, the sign man. And it appears that JD is in that hot conversation also. JD, where's JD? Okay. We'll say thank you to JD. So the rest of the guys are on the outside. So we're now going to get set for a few performances. We have several other certificates we will give. Oh, look, the Lobster is here. So Lobster, you can come and get your certificate. The Lobster from South City, Guabe, formerly of the Golden Squad. So Calfa P and the White Ferry. So we want to say thank you for all what you have done so far for the month. And we also have a special, this time is a few mugs from the sign man, and this one is?
La Grande Dame.
La Grande Dame de la Chanson Diaz. And this one is with a picture of Ophelia, especially from the sign man. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Smaller. And this one is for the Small Axe Mobile. Where is the Small Axe Mobile? 1 month of non-stop promotion. And then one of the partners, as a matter of fact, one of the brains behind this month, that's our little way of saying thank you to him from Goen Global Entertainment, and we will call on Dion to take this back up on behalf of Gordon Henderson, Goen Global Entertainment. And I think the sign man have a special one for somebody.
Despite everything, for all his hard work, a little token. Warix.
Thank you very much, the sign man, and thank you everyone. Over to the moderator.
All right, thank you, Alex. Thank you very, very much. And of course, this takes us on to the entertainment section. We have the order. JD is going to go first. And then following JD, we have Lobster. And then following Lobster, we're going to have Gregory Rabes, Washla. And then after Gregory Rabes, we have Calfa P. Then we have White Fairy. We have Roret Laurent, Alicia, and Shalina as well. Both Shalina and Gregory will be introducing the latest single, so that's something you can look forward to. Are we ready with the music part, the backing tracks and all of that? Wadix, are we ready? Yes, yes.
L'Amérique, c'est pas en place pour nèg. Pas qu'à y aller, l'Amérique encore.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, Warix. It's a pleasure to be here tonight once again. I'm going to sing a song entitled L'Amérique. No, I do not have the playback, so I'm going to sing over the original song, right? So just bear with me. Let's go.
L'Amérique, c'est pas en place pour nèg. Pas qu'à y aller, l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à y aller, l'Amérique encore. On t'aime l'Amérique, mais l'Amérique pas aime moins. Pas qu'à aller l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à aller l'Amérique encore. L'Amérique c'est pas en place pour nèg. On tenit en 4 faits, mais l'Amérique pas aime moins. Pas qu'à aller l'Amérique encore. Yo ka joué nèg là à la ouïa. Yo ka joué nèg là à journée quoi. Yo ka joué nèg là. Parce que nous noirs, pour rien, yo ka joué nèg là. Pas oublier, nèg, travail à soleil chaud. Pas oublier, nèg, mettez pays waho. Pas oublier, nèg, travail pour rien. Pas oublier, nèg, pas jamais fait rien. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. On t'aime l'Amérique, mais l'Amérique pas aime moins. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. L'Amérique c'est pas en place pour nèg. On tenit en 4 faits, mais l'Amérique pas aime moins. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Oui, moi lever la main en l'air. Oui, moi la pas qu'à résister. Oui, moi la main pas ni physique. Oui, moi ni la capouetier. Pas oublier, yo, portez nous sur le bateau. Pas oublier, yo, battre nous en sido. Pas oublier, yo, conduire esclavage. Pas oublier, yo, fait combien d'hommages. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. On t'aime l'Amérique, mais l'Amérique pas aime moins. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. L'Amérique c'est pas en place pour nèg. On tenir au quatre fait, mais l'Amérique pas aimé moins. Pas qu'à y aller l'Amérique encore. Mes amis, Dominique, c'est la paradis sur la terre. Pas quitter la Dominique pour rien, non, non, non. Non, 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 non. Pas quitter la Dominique. Pas quitter hors de la poêle. Pas quitter hors de souffouillère. Pas quitter la Dominique. Well, you should know, we have been plagued with this thing for a long time now. Generations and generations. Right? One solution. We have to come together as one, right? Together. Unity is strength. And strength is power. And together we can overcome anything. Right? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Minula kamade. L'Amérique, ça nous fait. Nous pas jamais fait rien. No, 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 no. Minula kamade. Watch là, dis-moi, ça nous fait. Nous pas jamais fait rien. No, no, no.
Nous pas qu'à l'Amérique encore. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes. Collaboration, right? In practice. Do it. Very nice, 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 nice. All right, and we're going to bring on the next performer. Bouglai pi modern. Olive foi moi. Bouglai pi modern. The lobster. IP set. Very good, very good. All right, so let us welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you. Yes, Wadix, big up. Welcome everyone. Sin. Yes. Sa maman t'a fait comme ça, pour haï maman, macaco pan. Sa papa t'a fait comme ça, pour haï papa, c'est voix sans voix. Pour la petite terre, pour la petite caïla, pour la petite l'argent, yo quitté en banque la zone, pas sa compagnon de l'autre, et voix sans voix. Yo pas qu'on fait en quitter. Mais à présent yo couché, pas ça fait rien pour yo la zoye. When il est famille là, when il est cochon, I got the cut mama zo. Yes sir, yes sir. How you feeling in the house? I love the live band, you know, because I'm a live performer. See? How you feeling in the house? You know, lovely man. Sa maman ça fait comme ça, pour haï maman, macaco pan. Sa papa ça fait comme ça, pour haï papa, c'est voix sans voix. Pour la petite terre, pour la petite caïla, pour la petite l'argent, yo quitté en banque la zone, pas sa compagnon de l'autre, il voit sans voix. Yo pas qu'on fait en quitter. Yes I. Mais à présent yo couché, pas ça fait rien pour yo la zoye. Massive. When il est famille là, when il est cochon, I got the compte maman zo. Yes I. When il est famille là, when il est cochon, I got the compte maman zo. Travail, papa, travail, pour faire ça, enfin, vini, quoi, à présent, il besoin, yo. Toi, plati, maman, passé, pour faire ça, enfin, vini, quoi, à présent, il besoin, ça. Zolon, pile, chimé, caillou. Moi si la place aux eaux, on fait mine kaba mon mépris. Il passe à fri mon moyen, il passe à vola mon sorti. Ha! Cadence, yes sir. Ouais, ouais, il est vers là. Ouais, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre ma maison. Ouais, il est vers là. Ouais, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre ma maison. Même si on est plus belle voiture, quand le réplique soleil, après ou ni pas ni d'autre. Mais à présent, yo quitté, et yo qui cap le repli, et yo qui n'est plus gros gwen glow, pour n'ayez dormir. Cadence. Moi si la place aux eaux, quand il va mon mépris, allez garder contre maman, à l'époque c'est maman, aïe pendant les pistes à maman. Oui, il est vers mille là, oui, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre maman. Oui, il est vers mille là, oui, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre maman. Pour l'autre des petits à maman, ou les bas mon mépris, ou pas ça vaut la mon sortie. Cadence. Oui, il est vers mille là, oui, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre maman. Oui, il est vers mille là. Oui, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre maman. Même si on est plus belle voiture, quand le réplique soleil, après ou ni pas ni d'autre. Mais à présent, yo quitté, et zo qui cap le repli, et yo qui n'est plus qu'au gwen glow, en bonnet d'emblée. Ah ouais, cadence. Oui, il est vers mille là, oui, il est cochon, aïe, gardez contre maman. Ou ainsi la place aux eaux, quand il va mon mépris, allez garder contre maman, allez porter maman, aïe pour l'autre des pistes à maman. Lord, you feeling in the house? What is big up? Respect to the elderly, Cadance, elderly and the veterans and them. Big up, big love. See it?
Yes, I. Yes, I. Come on. Let's give him a round of applause again. Yeah, hey. Now it's my turn, right? This is a new single by Washla. Just a little bit of credits. That song was recorded actually way back in January, but it could only find its release now. The song was recorded at Dada Manufacturer, so let us give a little big up to Dada. I met this lady somewhere in Roseau City. Something she said to me got me thinking seriously. Music was playing on the radio, it was well we know so well. She said this music song devil is something straight out of hell. I tried to explain to her that's her roots and culture. Music straight out of Africa, but no, she wouldn't hear. Bonjour, Saki Rive from Sao. Well, I had to tell her the biggie mess up your head, the biggie mess up your head. He full it up with a cacao bass and you think you have so much well. The biggie mess up your head, the biggie mess up your head. He full it up with cacao bass and you think you have a sevel. Woi, 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 cacao bass if I'm well. Woi, 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 woi. Woi, 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 cacao bass for sevel. Started in slavery as part of colonial strategy. Something they said to me, music was like it under me. Music was playing on the radio, it was a melody we know so well. This music song, the devil is something straight out of hell. Try to explain to her that she roots and culture. Music straight out of Africa, but no, she wouldn't hear. Bonjour, Saki Rive from Sao. I had to tell her the biggie mess up your head, the biggie mess up your head. Full it up with cacao bass and you think you have so much well. The biggie mess up your head, the biggie mess up your head. Full it up with cacao bass and you think you have a sevel. Woi, 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 cacao bass if I'm well. Woi, 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 cacao bass if I'm well. mess up your head. The biggie mess up your head. You full it up with caca bass and you think you have so much well. The biggie mess up your head. The biggie mess up your head. You full it up with caca bass and you think you have a sevel. Woy, 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 woy. Woy, 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 woy. Woy, 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 woy. Caca bass if I'm well. Woy, 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 woy. Woy, 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 woy. Woy, 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 woy. Caca bass pas sevel. Tête calbasse. Ou défiguré, à l'esprit déchiré. Caca calbasse qui en tête toi. Tirez ça, jetez ça, and get yourself together. Get conscious, my brother. Get real, my sister. Know your roots and culture. Knowledge is power. Liberating power. Tête calbasse. Saudia, aussi mieux était comme ça. Et puis tête calbasse-toi. Ascension zézé, aïe lave tête tout garçon. Moi qu'aïe couille masse, moi libre. Moi qu'aïe fête liberté. It's emancipation time. Thank you very much. This was Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse. Tête Calbasse.
La J-Mai Selecta.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Merci on pile, merci on shine. Tête Calbasse. All right, the next performer, Kalfa, are you there? Kalfa P? Sorry? Oh, she... Kalfa P!
Yes. There go Mr. Take a on, you come here, you can look at me and shoot it. There go Mr. Take a on, look at me, you can look at me and be with. There go Mr. Take a on, look at me, you can look at me and be with. There go Mr. Take a on, look at DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, God Kumasi, où ressuscité Cadance, DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, où filia Kumasi, où ressuscité Cadance. Le yo kwa imo, nous mène vivre. Jour par jour, nous va jouer tous les jours. Tout côté nous aller, c'est Cadance nous les. Moi-même venu pour vous écouter. DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, God Kumasi, où ressuscité Cadance, DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, où vas-y balader, où ressuscité Cadance. Allons aller, Cadance la douce, messieurs, mesdames. Allons aller, chalet. Mon pâté sa vie des chaud. Mais joli jour, moi fais moi connaître du chaud. Si mon pâté sa vie des chaud. Mais joli jour, ou fais moi connaître du chaud. À la radio, tout ça dans disco. Musique Cadance show, so qui fait mon show. À la radio, Cadance music show. Ou quand j'ai plus chaud, toute musique la show. DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, God Kumasi, où ressuscité Cadance, DJ Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance, au filial de Wadi, où ressuscité Cadance. Brand new and fresh, so just take it as you go. Chalet. Cadance là, il tous, messieurs, mesdames. Warning! Si mon pâté sa vie des chaud. Mais joli jour, fais-moi connaître du chaud. Si mon pâté sa vie des chaud. Mais joli jour, fais-moi connaître du chaud. À la radio, tout en and disco. Music Cadance show. So when we show. All the radio. Tout and disco. Music Cadance show. So quand je plus show. DJ Wadi.
Ressuscité Cadance.
Gordon commencé.
Ressuscité Cadance.
DJ Wadi.
Ressuscité Cadance.
Ovilia commencé.
Ressuscité Cadance.
Show. Music Cadance for do we show. Music Cadance for do we show. Music Cadance for do we show. Dominique, ça c'est musique à nous. Ça c'est musique Cadance. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Show. Music Cadance.
Merci, Calfa P. And Ferry, White Ferry. Where are they? All out here. Next, let's have a big. Oh, he's just getting the little queuing up the track. So the next performer is White Ferry. Let's welcome him in a big way. White Ferry from Gonfon.
Brothers, good night to everybody. No. Big up to Sign Man. You're looking at the life of another and you're thinking that they're better than you. Cause every day you wake up in the struggles and you see that things ain't working out for you. One thing that you should know, not everyone was born with a golden spoon. Most people who want a brother, they had worked harder and harder, and that's what you should do. So allow me to help, allow me to help. You can solve them, brother, don't give up. You win the system, financial problems. You can fight them, sister, don't give up. No, don't give up. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Don't you give up, sister. Don't give up. No. Don't you give up. Why. Cherry. Good night, everybody. And big up to the Sign Man. I have to give you your flowers before you. Boy. Don't you give up, friend. Cherry. Joua ka ouve, ou la ka kachile, ki sa ou ka ife. Ki sa ou ka imaje, denye fwa ou maje bien se de bien. Ou ni za fam pou voye l'ekol. Klete ou poko peye, maladi some an l'ekol. Pi l'hopital pou peye, person pa mele. So la mi tou lew, la wa mi zew. You can solve them, brother, don't give up. You win the system, financial problems. You can fight them, sister, don't give up. Pas pour la J, pas pour laisser. Don't you give up, brother. No. Don't you give up. Why? Cherry. Warix, you want to give them a test on the new thing? You understand? You gotta give people the flowers. Roll up. Chibi, breakdown selector. Yes, I. Yeah, this one. This is a new one. Just came out. Really Swadix. Prince Swadix. Pa pou a wete, pa moun flè la yo mange a kite la vie. Aprisye sa yo ka fè kon yo a pa mis anjodi. La se mouve valè vie nan nou ka krusife moun epi. Fò nou konnet goumen yo se pou nou tout sa benefis. For all the wonders you done for us all, spreading the music all over the globe. For all the good things that you done for God, that's what it is. We thanking you, brother. Oh boy, We want to say thank you to Wadix for all what he has done for the Cadas over the past time, you know. And this song was written for him. Thank you to Ophelia Mari. Thank you to all of those who spread the Cadas all over there. Paja lo moun pisou pasan ki gwaye yo pwen pou jwe music. Faut nous connaître goumen yo akumas ma Cadas music. Gordon Henderson, Fix Troy Williams, yo. Vivian Moore. Yo goukwen, voyage musique nous. Mais attends jodi, jeunesse te qui changé. Si pas de Wadix qui ka poussé. For all the wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for Cadance-Lypso, we thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Oh boy, check, check. Wadix, check. Pour tout ça, j'ai fait pour culture, pour musique nous, et puis pour Cadance-Lypso. C'est pour ça nous on les dit. Merci, autant que ça. Wanna big up to me, Mr. Wadix. This is the new one. Take it again, Wadix. Check. Autant que ça. So papa ou ba moun flè, la yo mort, la yo ka vive. For all the wonders he done for us all, spreading the culture all over the globe. For all the good things that he done for Cadance-Lypso, we thanking you, brother. We thanking you, brother. We thanking you, brother. Jimmy. You all really on the radio over the past time. I want to say thank you to everybody who attend this. Thank you to everybody who is trying to push Cadas. Big up to Lobster, big up to Calfa P. Big up to everybody, you know, coming up in the Cadas. Big up to the NCCU. I must say that Harrigan is here tonight representing. Yeah. And thank you all for what you have been doing, Mr. Ophelia Mari. This is White Ferry. I'm going to leave the mic for someone else. Mr. Rades, Prince Wadix. We thanking you.
Yes, Prince Wadix, we thanking you. And we thanking White Ferry for thanking Wadix. Yes, I. All right, and we're going to bring on Janet Azuz. All right, that's another, well, surprise for the night. And then after Janet, we're going to have Shalina. So Shalina, stand by. Shalina is, sorry? Janet, we're ready for you. Are you ready for us? Sorry? All right, Wadix is saying we got to go with Shalina. All right, Shalina, are you ready? Get in there. All right. All right, let her come. She's going to introduce a new single as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not even sure if I remember the lyrics. But this one was written by myself. And of course, I get a little extra help from Dion. And of course, he is also the producer of the song. Okay, so tonight, thank you so very much for listening. Okay, we expect it. Of course, expect it into there.
It's Shalina. But a little things you do, you got me stuck like glue. When I met you, at first I thought, okay. Then I got to know you, and how you took over my space. Took your trombone and speed, just with the steps instead of talking. Now I'm happy. Tu me connais la vie. Quand tu m'écoutes, je t'aime encore plus. Every hug and all your kisses gives me that push. There's a one set amour between you and me. Cet amour est unique, maybe you'll agree. This love is meant to be. This
love, c'est pour la vie. I can hold you in my arms for eternity. This love, only you and me. C'est me comme un raisin, sweet touches feel deep. My mind resists the urge to find your love, so help me please. Si tu m'attends, sache que ça va tout. Je suis gardé dans tes draps, je suis happé dans tes bras. Baby boy, come hold on to me. When your face is where I wanna be. Kiss your neck, hold your waist. I wanna give you some of my sexy body. Look at me, don't turn your eyes. Yeah, I feel that energy. Baby boy, show me what you'll invest in me. Come and rest it on me. Yeah. This love is meant to be. This love, c'est pour la vie. I can hold you in my arms for eternity. This love, only you and me. Only you and me. Hey, yeah. Only you and me. Oh, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. Yeah. This love is meant to be. This love, c'est pour la vie. I can hold you in my arms for eternity. This love, only you and me. Only you and me. Let me everybody sing it, only you and me. Let's go. Only you and me. Hey, one more time. Only you and me. This love is meant to be. This love, c'est pour la vie. I can hold you in my arms for eternity. This love, only you and me. Thank you so much.
Yes. Big up, Shalina. Yes, I. Pretty soulful. All right, Janet, are you ready for us? Hi, Janet, are you ready for us? She is not ready for us, right? Oh. All right, we're having fun here. It's wrapping up Cadance month. Well, right now we're into the performance and cocktail session, wrapping it down. Yes, Alex? Sorry? Oh, Lindell. Linden, sorry. Linden. Call in Linden. Sort out some technical matter. Linden. Call in Linden. All right, as soon as we settle that little technical, we.
Okay, that's it. We come to the end of the Cadance-Lypso month. I'll give you one more song. So if you feel to dance, Sakipani Fam, Sheshi Fam, Sakipani Nam, Sheshi Nam. But before that, on behalf of the University of the Western Days, DBS Radio, the Sign Man, Gohen Global Entertainment, and all our partners, Multi Solutions Inc., Digicel, Fine Foods Inc., NCCU, DDA, DFC, DNO, MO News, J&M Enterprises, Altitude Constructions Inc., ACS, Dublin Dental Clinic, the Trois Pitons Water, Atlantic View Hotel, St. George's Dental, Wise QFM, Carry FM. We want to thank also our panelists for this evening and all the panelists throughout the month. But this evening, Marc Marie, Michael Henderson, Sobers Esprit, Gilles Lyonnais, Professor Julien Marion, and Derek Rapidas, also Cornell Fingers Philip, and also Carlton Winston. La Grande Dame de la Chanson at the end with the prayer, and Lady S with the national anthem. So if you want to dance, we're going to give you one song to dance. Est-ce que vous êtes dansé, messieurs? Est-ce que vous allez danser? If you want to dance, I'm going to give you one song to dance. Sakipani fam, cherche femme. Sakipani nom, cherche nom.
Welcome to
You can turn the lights down low.
Total Cadette.
You can crochet, danser, coller.
Precursors of Silk featuring Ophelia, Jeff Joseph of the Gramax, Anthony Garcia Black Affairs, and yours truly, Gordon Henderson of Exile One. Buckle up.
Yo te quiero, señorita.
Qui vite ou fait moins là. Dame la cosa, mira. When you have food to the laba, Venezuela. De si bien affaire à Venezuela. Moi rencontré pas mal de señoritas. Mais chaque fois, moi change petite Rosita. When you have food to the laba, à Venezuela. Yo te quiero, señorita. Moi pas qu'à comprendre qui bagaille ou fait moi la Rosita. Dame la cosa. When you have to go to the laba à Venezuela.
Ay, Dominique, meu caflewe, zéo cacule, tchau cawache, mes amis sa café Dominique, sa café Dominique, mi mauvais mes amis sa café Dominique, sa café Dominique, mi mauvais ay Dominique, mon blé con